Hello, my internet fans. It's me, Statboy Mike, and I would like to welcome you to this week's installment of Throwback Thursday. The Casa D18 Studios Channel continues to sort through the archives of the Jeff Meacham Network, the Simple Man brand, JH95 FTW, NoDQ.com, and the Casa Channel in order to bring you classic content that you may not have seen in a long time, if ever. So just sit back, relax, and enjoy this week's Throwback Thursdays offering. I love you all. Statboy out.
And now, preview time. So let's take a look at what's coming your way.
The Casa D18 Studios, an affiliate of the Jeff Meacham Network, Multiverse of Media, proudly presents this retro content from the Jeff Meacham Network.
JJ, Jeff, you want to kick this thing off? Because I'm still trying to process everything here.
Yeah, it's like,
who wants to go first?
Yeah, who wants to go first?
well,
Come on in. It's open mic night with your host.
you could maybe say there's really 4 topics, but it's split into 6.
The Renegade, JJ Williams.
The Sammy and Eddie Kingston thing, which one's the better smelling turd?
And his panel of co-hosts.
I am founder. Well, call me that for today since we're going with the Jeff Jarrett love theme here this week, according to JJ.
The West Coast Professor, Jeff Meacham.
Karma is karma.
That's professional wrestling! Damn it! The Simple Man, Noah Foster.
It's showtime! Yeah! How you doing, JJ? How you doing, Jeff?
James.
Yeah.
And the He-Man, James Hebert.
Imagine Bill Burr, Joe Rogan, Paul White, the Baldies! There you go! It sells itself! Get in there!
Short his ass and shit the bed.
He's not Amber Heard.
Give it time, JJ, give it time.
No, I'm sure Jeff has some stuff that...
Dumb move. Just don't pull this bullshit again. You get one.
Tony needs to stop caring about the ratings.
Bradshaw said as long as the ads are in place, we're not going to lose that third hour.
Ring of Honor does not have to be AEW Live. They don't necessarily have to coexist with each other. We kind of saw that tonight to a degree.
Along with a panel of guests.
He's no longer glorious. Don't you bring that up. You want me to rant about what my NXT used to... No, we are done here for the night. I swear, James.
Because you never know who may show up for open mic night.
I leave our company in the capable hands of an extraordinary group of superstars, employees, and executives.
The first thing that came to my mind was, it's about damn time.
Amen!
I literally touched everybody in the state's trash. So I've... It's horrible, you guys.
Peyton's new thing is Dennis the Menace, but it's funny because she calls it Dentist the Medicine.
That's great.
When Elliot Taylor came out and did Born for Greatness live, I was popping my pussy, having a great time. I didn't care. I was having so much fun.
Sit back, relax, and enjoy the show.
Fuck Bill Belichick.
Football thing. We got it on wrestling, and then you bring in that shit. That's just how the thing goes off the damn rails. Brilliant, bloody brilliant.
Go to intermission.
What the hell?
Nope, over it.
All
right then.
God, all right. I want everybody to know. I want everybody to know. I did not tell Jeff to do this. This is all him. So don't blame me. Don't get mad at me for this.
This is the first time ever in Jeff Meacham Network history as I readjust my camera so I don't look like the guy from Home Improvement over the fence.
What? I will say, if you do get mad at me because I said, oh, this should have been for all the titles so many times, fair enough. You get pissed off.
But James, here's the thing. You're not wrong!
Yeah, I'm not wrong.
You out of
line.
line,
but I'm not wrong.
No. You're
simple as that.
You're not on line at all.
Yeah.
And JJ left because he's mad by the end of the show early, I think. Oh, well, whatever.
No, he's readjusting him. He's probably adjusting. He's probably adjusting things too. We've gone off the freaking damn rails here. What the hell?
Come back. We must need you. We need you.
We need the wise man on this panel.
Hey, listen.
Oh, no. I'm here. It's just my daughter knocked at the door. So, whenever someone knocks on the office, I cut the camera real quick and mute so that I can.
Oh, of course. Absolutely. All right. So.
Yo. Peacock's pissed. Bro, I literally was about to close it out, and I heard the volume turn up on its own.
Whoa!
What?
Oh man!
How's that possible? Oh, by the way, Paul.
Vinny Mac's pissed.
Paul,
James,
Saturday.
James,
let's try and go bowling for real. Let's go to Ballora Lanes and Monroe.
Crazy ass mucker feather birds, man. I don't mess with those birds, so it wouldn't surprise me if it was up in your shit now.
I mean, they're supposed to be like, signs of beauty, and then they claw your eyes out.
Yeah, let's just go, man. So we're not even doing intermission, nothing. And
wow, we're getting right into it. Scott with a $10 super chat.
Hey,
Scott.
Hey, Scott. Yeah. Scott, you have been acknowledged, and because you have been acknowledged, my friend, you are well within your right to introduce a topic for open mic night. So come on down. Do it. Wait.
Hell. You're at the top threshold. You can come on the show if you want to, Scott. Let us know.
Scott,
if you want to come, the link, brother.
If you want to come on the show,
you can take my spot because I'm going to bail out.
Yeah,
we'll let you in.
We'll let you in. Let me in. Yeah, let us know, Scott, if you want to join in the show and join in on open mic night because we got a ton to cover.
I don't have the beard anymore, so I can't be Bray Wyatt, but I still have the fedora and the plaid shirt.
So yeah, and he can introduce his own topic while he's on the show, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's the whole point of that.
I mean, considering
Scott,
the fact he's giving us more super chats tonight as well, didn't he?
Yeah, he gave us a $2 one earlier.
MVP of the night, Scott 2020
and
Gladiator.
Here's another one.
Respect.
Another one. Too busy right now, but thank you for the offer.
All right, man. Well, at the very least, if you want, just leave a comment. You could do it for free. You are more within your right to introduce a topic for the show. So,
and we love to hear from you. Please introduce anything you want.
Literally any question. It doesn't even have to be wrestling related. Come up with a question. We'll open mic night.
Yeah, this or
Mike
that.
Knight?
Bring up a
Mike
thought.
What?
the mafia boss tonight is in the house. So come on. You make your deal, you can't refuse.
You dare not make this a winner-take-all scenario. You dare.
Don't push your luck with the family.
Oh, there we go. Roman and Drew in the ring now. Oh, wait, nobody cares. Okay, cool. There we go.
I still care. You know, I do wish that
I'm
more
glad you
belts
cared,
were
Jay.
on
I
the line
appreciate
for
it.
this match. I do, you know, I think that they messed up by putting it where they did, but I do care about this match.
Like I said, Edge versus AJ Styles, Cody versus Seth, Ronda Rousey, Charlotte Flair. Show's over. Good night, folks.
It's just one of those things. I'm not interested.
Aaron Riff time. Yeah, I have little or no interest in this match.
Hey, let's not. Hey, what's on here? Wait a minute. Aaron Rip shit.
I'm just quoting the man. I'm just quoting the man.
He's actually might be in our boat here, honestly.
Drew looks like he's ready for it.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
Superman punch.
God, he took. Good night. Have a seat.
Yeah,
Drew.
how's that Superman punch felt, Drew? Right in the jaw as Paul Heyman cradles the titles. What are the odds that Brock Lesnar shows up here tonight to end the show?
I was going to say,
all right,
Roman grabbing his neck, you can tell that he's still feeling something.
And that's why probably they didn't do a title match with him and Nakamura.
Yeah, well, there you go.
So I do indeed have 4 topics squared up for tonight, but we'll got to entertain anybody. And Scott, you sent in like $15 signs. If you want to have a topic brought up that is not,
yeah, seriously, Scott. If you're still watching us, tell us in the comments and literally introduce the topic, brother.
Yeah. Even though you may be too busy to join us on screen.
Yeah,
feel
leave
free
a comment.
to drop a topic in the chat room, and we will discuss it first.
Please do.
Because you've been so generous tonight.
Yeah, you've been great.
MVP. You've been the MVP for the night for sure, man. Respect.
Jeff, that topic that I sent in the chat that you said booked, is that on the agenda tonight?
Forget which one it was.
Angle's comments.
I didn't make a graphic for it, but we can definitely talk about it.
Okay.
Hey, James, the free match from New Japan Pro Wrestling this week for Monday free match. Best of Super Juniors 23, Will Ospreay versus Ricochet.
Oh yeah, let's go. I'm ready.
Wait. Sorry, botch. King Ricochet. Let me get it correct.
All right.
Here are the topics I have guaranteed lined up. So JJ has a topic about Kurt Angle's comments that we'll get to later on in the evening, and it looks like the match is over. Or no, he's just posing. Okay.
Yeah, I looked down for a second. I'm like, what's going on?
We also have WWE's first quarter earnings have come out. So did they go up? They did not go up. Can we work?
Money.
Randy looks like he is itching to get in there with Roman.
Well, he's
Claymore.
in there with me because I don't.
Oh, nice Claymore by McIntyre. Put in the Tribal Chief down. The crowd is right now wanting Randy Orton, who's just recently celebrated 20 years in the WWE. Randy Orton wants Roman Reigns. These two got history going all the way back to that SummerSlam match that Roman Reigns won.
This should be interesting. WWE bullshitting the stockholders. That should be fun.
Randy gets that hot tag. Watch for the 5 moves.
Count them off, JJ.
1 clothesline. 2 clothesline. Duck for the scoop slam. Boom. We gonna give 1 more scoop slam. Yep. Boom. All right, let's set him up for that DDT off the rope. Move number 4.
James, what have you been saying all night? Something Orton, I figure, is what fits here.
Something Orton.
Vintage Orton.
Vintage Orton. Something Orton.
And
I don't
he's
know.
feeling
I don't
it.
care anymore.
The Viper's ready to coil up.
Hey, we got the Alamo 2023 Rumble thingy.
Remember the never mind.
Yeah, Alamo.
Orton going to that place looking to. Which Uso ran interference? That Jimmy or Jay? I always get the two confused. And then from RKO to the Tribal Chief by Randy Orton.
That was interesting that Randy hit the move on the champion and not Drew. That's very curious.
Yeah. Super kick. RKO!
Didn't matter.
And the cover. 1, 2. It's not over yet, folks. As he saves his breath at the last possible second.
Can it end, please? Great.
Damn, James, it's not that bad.
I know it's a good match, but I just
Wrong
don't
slot
care,
on the
man.
card, I will give you, but it is not a bad match, dude.
No, it's not.
I know it's not a bad
Overall, at this point, I would give this pay-per-view a solid B.
I wouldn't.
Agreed.
I give it like C plus.
That mattered have delivered, and
Three,
the 3 matches
two,
or the 2 matches
one.
that didn't really matter,
Super kick.
at least did what they needed to do. Omos and Madcap Moss both left strong.
Double super kick.
What are you 3-2-1-ing about, Mikey?
Drew went for the Claymore and missed.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
We're
and
all
then
on sync. This is great. I love it.
They got double super kick in the face as the original bro is on the apron. I might as well finish. There it is.
Looking for the tag.
Like I said, Orton has history with Roman Reigns.
Got to
JJ
hold the
Mikey,
tag
end
rope.
of 1. Oilers 0, Kings 2.
Good.
See, at least something's going right tonight.
Hey, Stetcher got a goal tonight. I'm here for that. That's awesome. I love me some Stetcher. You guys know that.
Man, I love these wrestlers. I love that they're trying so hard. It's a real shame there's no titles on the line.
What are you going to do? Oh, now, Stat Boy, he's got the stats right. If I remember correctly, and this is a stretch, the last time a pay-per-view or premium live events were now known, ended in a match, a multi-person match, might I add. I think it was a 6-man tag, too. That involved no titles, but was a grudge feud. Was when Kurt Angle tagged with the Shield against, what was it? Sheamus, Corbin, and somebody else at a TLC pay-per-view. Is that accurate?
Wait, are you talking about Corbin and Kalisto?
No.
Corbin and Kalisto comes to mind. That was.
Are you talking about the Shield's final ride?
No. It was when Kurt Angle for one night only was with the Shield.
I think that's the last time a
Now Riddle's
multi-tag
calling
match
for it.
main event a pay-per-view.
Yeah.
The Olympic Shield. The Olympic Shield. No.
Roll up now by Riddle. He escapes. Looks for a big kick. Uh-oh. Oh! Pop-up net breaker. Uso in the cover. Orton breaks it up. And now Jimmy comes in. Okay, so Jimmy's the one with the more wild here. Got it.
You know, again, you know what? I need to start drinking it, but I'm going to say something. The chat room needs to get over their damn selves. It's not that the chat is dead. We don't acknowledge every single thing on screen because, like we have said all throughout the night, if you want on-screen acknowledgement in any way, you got to pony up a little bit so you get my attention with the big, bright, colorful thing in my display window here. Number one. Number two, the pay-per-view isn't over yet. So we haven't talked about anybody winning or losing yet. I just moved on because this match is so unimportant. That's all.
Oh.
Yep. And by the way, I don't even think Jeff was drunk or drank anything.
I have not had a sip of alcohol today yet.
So, yeah, so there you go.
The person in question isn't even watching the pay-per-view, so...
Are you watching pay-per-view? Oh, wait, it's not pay-per-view, it's premium live event.
Like I appreciate you guys watching the channel. I don't begrudge you that, what I'm failing to understand is we tell everybody up front we're not going to provide the broadcast of the feed. So if you're going to listen to us commentate, you might want to pay attention to your TV on the cock app. You know, I'm just.
Oh man, Roman Reigns planted Drew McIntyre through the announce table.
So there you go.
Somebody ought to check your
match. That's a DQ.
And Riddle flies over the top, wipes out Roman and Jimmy. Here comes Jay, Oh, Flash with a tope suicida, and 5 of the 6 men are down. Where the hell is Orton?
Yeah, man. You know,
right now, Matt Riddle in the ring.
You try to disqualify the bloodline. Watch what happens.
Oh
man!
All the all the
all the jumping knee strike. Oh, super kick follow up. Riddle and Jay down.
All the there you go. All the WWE.
Everybody's
fans.
down. No, Orton's nowhere in sight. So,
but Uso right now might be going up to the top, looking for that splash, maybe.
Easy up there, Uso. Easy.
These Usos never take it easy when it comes to the top rope.
Nope.
Oh, wait a minute. Riddle
follows up. God.
Oh, man! RKO off the top rope and
Here comes
Riddle. The cover. 1, 2. The Bloodline takes it home tonight.
Yay.
And Logan got the pin again. 3 times this has now happened.
So we could have done a winner take all scenario, and you didn't. Why?
And Roman Reigns pins Matt Riddle, not Drew McIntyre, not Randy Orton, but the third man on the other side, and wins it for the Bloodline.
But my point stands. Why, if you were gonna do this outcome and the heels win, why didn't you make this winner take all?
As Vince McMahon,
because that wasn't part of the plans in the first place, and we just need to move on from that. Let that shit go for real, like seriously.
I went 4-2 tonight.
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
All right.
By the way, I never want to hear any WWE fanboy that's just a WWE fanboy complain about AEW hot potatoing a title belt ever again. Never want to hear it again. Thanks.
What hot potato are you talking about?
One title change tonight.
No, I'm talking about the TNT thing, the fucking hot potato.
I understand what you're talking about, but what does that have to do with tonight's show?
What does that have to do with WWE?
That is fair. They didn't hot potato tonight, but
okay.
Don't worry, they will.
I'm just saying the titles. At least my point being, the title matters. That's the main reason I brought that up. The title actually matters. None of the titles.
Trust and believe. Everybody in this room that's watched me, however long you've watched me, listen to me, whatever, you know how much emphasis and value I put on championships, and how much I am willing to call WWE on their bullshit.
Yep.
Not having a championship match be the main event is definitely the wrong way to go. However, I can, unfortunately, I hate about myself, I can take a step back and go, okay, objectively, this is your guy. This is your guy winning the main event match. This is your guy finishing the show, and he's going to go to the top rope right now. Paul's going to hand the title. He's going to do the pose. You have your top guy, your head of the team of tribal chief, posing with his family and the championship as we go off the air. Yes, JJ.
I don't think I would be as mad about it, and I can't speak for James or Mikey or Paul or Noah. I don't think I'd be as mad about it if it wasn't the only championship on the show.
Agreed.
Like I
if
said,
there was another title defense match, whatever, on the show, and it still wasn't the main event, I don't think anybody would be near as upset.
Nope.
Yep.
But if you are going to have a premium live event with only one championship defended in a match that is so definitive as an I Quit match, it needs to be your main event. Period.
Simple as that. You can take my quote. Simple as that. I've been saying it all night. I've been ranting it all night. The main event of my show tonight was Ronda Rousey versus Charlotte Flair, and fittingly so because an I Quit match in a championship encounter, as built, as intense as this, rightfully deserves to close the show. That was your biggest moment of the night. Nothing else mattered. After that, shout out to Metallica.
Because at the end of the day, what did the Bloodline have to gain from winning that match since none of the belts were on the line?
Absolutely nothing.
The babyfaces should have gotten it so that there was momentum going into Hell in a Cell.
What's that? Who sung that song at the end of Rush Hour? Was it 3? War. What is it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Back! Flash! Match! What was it good for? Absolutely nothing.
Say it again.
Oh,
Anyway.
yeah.
This is not karaoke,
guys,
so.
But it can be.
I suppose it could be, let me see.
Anyway,
What
the King of
would
Rock
you
Shell
do if I sang out of tune? Let's see here.
Officially, welcome everybody to Open Mic Night. Now we're at it. And Mikey, we're going to let you start because you've had your hand up like a good little soldier.
I was just gonna bow out and say another great panel. I'm also saying goodnight for Dory. We have to go to work tomorrow, so it was great. It was fun. We had a blast. Overall, thought on the pay-per-view, of course, I'm going to agree with all my brothers and say, the main event should have been Ronda and Charlotte, but that's a given. That's the way the WWE works. Keep the super chats coming. Follow us on Twitter. Follow our tweets and all that good stuff. You never know what's going to happen. And I'll see you next time. Okay? Cool. Love you guys.
Double or nothing. See you then.
See you. Hey guys, I'm heading out too. So
have a good night, Paul. God bless you.
Good night.
Thank you, gentlemen, for joining us this evening.
And then there were the four.
Very good. All right.
Every now and then, generally on a Friday, I find my hand going to that old familiar cramp.
That's it. All right. JJ, before we get into the topics I actually have graphics for, because I was prepared for those, what did you want to talk about regarding Kurt Angle and the comments he has made here recently?
I've seen an article going around the last week or so where Kurt Angle has gone on record basically saying that Shawn Michaels is no longer the greatest of all time. With what he has done in AEW, you can make a serious argument that it's Chris Jericho now.
Yeah.
I wish you said it before Mikey left.
And when you think about it, at first I read that and I'm like, that's a hell of a hot take there, Kurt. Are you back on the perk? Back being drugged up? But if you really think about it, what has Shawn done? He's AWA and WWF, WWE. That's his legacy.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah, he's got the Shawn Michaels Wrestling Academy. He gave us great names like Brian Kedrick and our good buddy Brian the American Dragon Danielson.
Yes.
But then you look at Chris Jericho.
Yeah.
ECW, WCW, WWF, first ever undisputed champion. WWE, he's managed to stay ahead of the curve and, like Madonna, reinvent himself over and over again. First AEW champion. And yet he still has legs. He's still going. He's looking better than ever out there. He's getting this young, new talent over. I think Kurt might be onto something, as hard as it may be for us to admit. I definitely feel that Jericho is definitely in that conversation at this point in time. If he wasn't already.
Yeah. Amen. Right.
That's a fact.
There's no argument, really. I mean, you could be a fan of Shawn Michaels all you want, but the bottom line is this. Jericho has done way more for the industry, period, and the story he just has.
Yeah, I mean, you look at what Jericho has done when you think about his outreach, New Japan Pro Wrestling, WCW, WWE, what he's done to raise AEW, what he's done everything else in between.
Yeah.
Jericho has done far more and has far more of an impact, pun intended, in more ways than one, not necessarily company-wise, on the industry than Shawn.
Yeah, and that's not to say Shawn.
No, not at all.
Bad or anything.
But you gotta look outside the bubble.
He has been by choice in the WWE bubble all of his life. That's not a bad thing. It's just how it is. and exactly like, and I like Josh's quote there. Like, and normally I don't read comments like that, but I'm going to there. Longevity doesn't necessarily equal greatness.
I'm sure Jeff would be putting it up if he was at the command post, but he's obviously stepped away for a moment. So
yes.
What's up?
I argue the fact that he says that Jericho has not had the caliber of match level that the others have. What are you on, Josh?
Yeah, that's.
Let's remember, guys, in Josh's defense.
I know Josh is young. I know Josh is a longtime viewer. I mean, no disrespect by that, Josh. For real. I know how much you love the channel and everything. But how can you sit there and tell me that Jericho has not had the caliber of match level that AJ, Edge, or Orton have had?
Yeah, he's probably not seen the matches in NJPW or fought about all of them in AEW, and even in the early parts of his career in WCW. To name a few, just a few.
And by the way, even just if you're just hold on, even just in the WWE one, hold up a second. Because we need to talk about this. We need to go over.
I was going to say, just the matches with HBK alone.
Yeah, his matches with HBK, not even just his feud with HBK.
That whole feud in whatever it was, 08 or 9, when he had the big gold belt and was being all Nick Bockwinkel-esque.
Yeah, or here's another one.
Come on.
His team with Jericho. I mean, he single-handedly revitalized the tag team division for a couple of years.
He really did.
Show and tell.
And then, more times than once. Let's also keep that in mind.
Multiple times, yes.
WrestleMania 17 was it, or 16? The triple threat with Benoit and Angle?
Yes. And that's not even just that. I mean, look at the first Money in the Bank ladder match. Look at the TLC.
He's the guy that brought that match into existence and never won it.
He is the single reason why Bubba Ray Dudley is still able to wrestle to this day, because he single-handedly called that chaotic TLC 4 match. Without Jericho calling those spots, Bubba doesn't walk again. That's the truth.
Was that TLC 4 or 3?
Preach it, brother.
And the match was still off the chain.
I think you're thinking TLC 3.
No, yeah, right. I'm sorry. TLC 3 is correct. No, wait. No, TLC 3.
TLC 4 was Raw Roulette.
No, yeah. No,
TLC 3 was that forgotten one on SmackDown because it's Jericho and Benoit.
No,
and then the other 3 teams.
No, I'm talking about TLC 4 because that's the one where Bubba got the concussion. Yeah, no. That match that
was scary. That was scary.
I encourage anybody to actually look at that TLC match from Raw Roulette and tell me that match was not great, because it actually was. It was forgotten because of the ending segment, but that match was freaking outstanding.
Well, I think Jeff can attest to this, because I think Cindy said it too. Sometimes when it comes to a main event or a match, the only thing that's truly taken away or remembered is the ending.
True.
True.
There's so many Jericho moments in WWE that classify GOAT.
Let me
read his book.
Comment. If Sean hadn't gotten the injury, he'd have become an even worse pill-popping, alcoholic basket case of a mess. That's what happened if Shawn Michaels hadn't got hurt. Okay, straight up.
That's a fair statement there.
Absolutely.
Sean needed the injury to get away from the business and get his life clean. To save nothing of his own injury and running the way he was running.
Yep.
He needed that break to, and here we go getting religious. I'm not a huge religious man, but he needed that break to get clean and to find God.
Yep. Amen.
Simple.
As that.
For all we know, Emmanuel, Sean's career could have ended sooner had he not had the injury.
Yes.
And more tragically, a la Eddie, a la Owen, a la Benoit.
So many greats.
As a result of his drug and alcohol use and abuse.
Yep. And again, we went real deep into this on a topic last night. And if anyone wants further thoughts regarding all this stuff, go watch a Might Night from last night. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah, and again, like, look, man, Jericho, even just if you consider just his WWE runs, I mean, he's goated. He's simply goated. There's
really
so
is.
many match of the year candidates he's had there. He has
I mean,
single-handedly rejuvenated that entire company more than once.
He told us for years he beat The Rock and Stone Cold in the same night.
Became the undisputed WWE champion, or was it F at the time?
No, it was still F at the time.
Okay, it was still F at the time. I just want to make sure. But you know what I meant.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, it's like that's not anything to sneeze at. And was he the right person at that point in time? No, probably not. And he even says it in his book. He felt like he was out of place there in that company. But that speaks volumes about what they saw in him, bringing him in. Hell, the other thing you got to remember, Josh, Jericho made his debut interrupting The Rock.
The Rock, yes.
When The Rock was untouchable, God level Roman Reigns status today, he interrupted a Rock promo, debuted, delivered a hell of a promo, and when The Rock turned around and essentially could have Billy Gunned him, because he gives his whole promo and then it's like, how dare you come out here and not introduce yourself? What is your name? Well, I told you mine. It doesn't matter
what your name is.
Yeah. And the thing about that is like everybody wants to talk about, dude, when The Rock was going, The Rock goed. You were getting buried. You had to take it because The Rock was the bigger star and that was the bottom line. Jericho was the only, at that point, only exception to that rule.
Damn right.
Now you fast forward a few months before Jericho's debut, and Rock is burying Billy Gunn with that type of promo.
Right.
Then you look at Jericho's debut a month, maybe a month and a half later, and that promo doesn't bury him.
No.
Not at all.
Not at all. What are you talking about?
Jeff, go ahead. You had your hand up.
The Billy Gunn, dear God, it doesn't matter what your name is, was the same month because they had their match at SummerSlam, Jay.
Right. I knew it was around August, but I just couldn't remember exactly where Jericho's debut fell in all that. So
Jericho's debut was August 9th. The Gunn promo was either the week before or the week after because it was like right up in there. So. But yeah, the point is, The Rock can sit there, and again, people sleep on Billy Gunn. Billy Gunn, still to this day, is as big and as jacked as Hogan was when Hogan was friggin' Hogan. Okay, the fact that Billy Gunn got buried like the freaking dog shit outside of this house by The Rock in the same 7 or 14-day span as Jericho not getting buried by a very similar diss shows you how. On a different level, Chris Jericho was 20-something, almost 25 years ago. Okay, so and he's been at the, now. Granted, his Undisputed Championship run was what it was. He'll even admit that, but he does so in his book quite boisterously. But overall body of work, no, it is very, very hard to not. If you're not going to call him the GOAT, Josh, I will go ahead and let you have that because it is your opinion, and we welcome every opinion on this channel. I say that
that's right.
Absolutely,
a good amount of value in your system. Once James has said, bottom line, first alcoholic drink for good old Jam tonight. So there you go.
Yeah, there you go.
By no means, Josh, am I trying to discredit your opinion.
No.
I'm just saying that you may need to go back to some of those, especially his ECW and WCW stuff, and maybe try to revisit that on the cock to get a little bit more perspective on pre-WWF Jericho.
That's another thing, too, to add to JJ's point. Like, even if you just go by his WWF tenure and WWE tenures, there were so many classics he had that, like, in every run that he had. I mean, you like, I understand just not going about it, and like, I understand if you just like guys better than Jericho, but to me, I think there's more that Jericho's done than anything Orton's done. He's bugging Major over here. Okay, Jeff, reboot.
No worries, we got this.
Rebooting.
But yeah, no, I don't know, man. Like, you look at his matches with Punk, you look at his matches with Benoit, you look at his matches with Christian, you look at his matches with Cena, you look at his matches with you look at his matches with Edge, you look at his matches with Eddie Guerrero, you look at his matches with X-Pac, you look at, there's so many good matches that he's ever had. Kevin Owens, you look at his match with Shawn Michaels, we mentioned before, Triple H. There's so many great matches that Jericho's had. Like,
Josh, go back into WCW specifically, and I forget which pay-per-view it was. I want to say it was summer-ish of '97.
Summer 8?
Wherever he had the match with Dean Malenko.
Yes.
When he was doing the whole Man of 1,004 holds and
Armbar
with him.
Armbar.
But look at the match that the two of them had during that whole program. Because that was some classic stuff right there.
You can make an argument that. Go ahead, JJ.
I was just gonna say, I'll throw it right back to you, James. And Malenko is another one who's incredibly underrated too. I don't think he'd be on GOAT level status. Definitely my top 5 or top 10 submission wrestlers of all time. GOAT level, different story, but that match is incredibly underrated.
You can also make the argument that maybe Jericho is better as an entertainer, but I think they'd go hand in hand. I think Jericho's the best in the ring and has the most longevity in the ring, and I think has the most longevity as a character. I think they go hand in hand.
There's a lot of truth to that.
I think Jericho is the sole reason why other wrestlers tried to replicate that same success. Orton probably wouldn't have the amount of years he has if it weren't for Jericho. Keep that in mind too. The very names you mentioned that you think are better than Jericho, had Jericho not done as good as he did in the ring for so long and as a character, Orton wouldn't stay around. Van Dam wouldn't have stayed around. There's tons of people that wouldn't have stayed around and continued going. Jericho is a lot to be credited for that.
And again, Josh, we are just trying to enlighten you, my friend, because there is so much to Jericho that what you might perceive doesn't even scratch the surface.
That's true.
And a lot of Jericho's longevity is owed to the fact that he would constantly take breaks to go do projects with Fozzy.
Yep. Which he still does, by the way. I'm pretty sure Jericho doesn't sleep.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure that's part of his deal with AEW is being able to do stuff with Fozzy. Jeff, welcome back.
Yay.
Go ahead, Jeff.
Okay, there's still a major lag because for whatever reason I was talking for a few minutes and nobody heard me, so bear with me here. I listened to the conversation during the wow, I'm lagging really bad. Jesus. Okay.
Hang on.
Don't
worry about it, bro. Just continue.
I mean, we can hear you. If you have to
reboot
it's
bad,
your router
so
at some
I
point.
don't need to worry about it.
Anyway, he's going to reboot his router probably. But yeah, so again, moving on from there, again, Jericho, enough said.
Yeah.
How do I sound now? How does this sound?
Yeah, you're perfect.
No.
There we go. Looks like that's how we're going about it, Jeff. There you go.
Bueller?
Yeah.
We hear you.
We hear you.
Hold on.
Actually, no.
Are you worried about your video latency? Because, I mean, we still hear you.
Yeah,
perfectly.
I actually hear myself in the background. I'm coming in like uber delayed. Uber fucking delayed.
Yeah.
Lovely.
What would you do if technology screws you?
Yes. By the way, Scott, thank you for following me on Twitter. DMing you now.
And Josh, that's fair. I mean, if he's just not in your personal goat list, then that's cool. You know, I mean, there's not going to be anything we're going to do to say to change that. We're just addressing Kurt Angle's comments on it, and that whereas a lot of people hold Shawn Michaels as the GOAT, he feels that Jericho really needs to be in that conversation if he hasn't eclipsed him. And that's all we're touching on, is that Kurt Angle is absolutely right in that.
Okay. How's this? How is this right now? How are we doing? We good?
I mean, you sound like a tin can, but as long as you're in sync with us, you're fine. So I don't really care.
No, tin can I'm not worried about just yet because I'm going to move back over here.
Ah.
How you doing?
There you go.
All right.
I don't know what part you did or didn't hear. Jeff, do you remember?
I heard all of it.
The Jericho Malenko match. When was that?
Well, they had a few matches. Their program started in early 1998. I think it was Unforgiven. Wow. Okay. 1 sip, and I'm already in a WWE mode. Wow. Okay. So it was Uncensored 98 where they had. Why are you minimizing? What the hell's the matter with you? Where they had that match where Malenko lost, and then Gene kind of berated him after, and he went on his little sabbatical. He came back at, as was mentioned, Slamboree, did the sequel pay gimmick in the Battle Royal, and then they kind of feuded off and on throughout the summer. But I think the 2004 stuff was when he was on hiatus, and he had that match with Jannetty.
Okay.
So that was during that feud. So early 1998 would be the answer to your question.
Okay.
So I was right. It was Slamboree.
Well, again, Slamboree was the big one where Malenko came back and it was just single pay, and who took his hand and bailed, and then it was a conspiracy after that, and that was some of Jericho's best stuff. So.
Fair enough. To be fair, I was only 6 years old. The fact that I remembered Slamboree for a degree says a lot.
I guess you're going to be sounding like the Mr. Tin Can Man because
it works. He's in sync.
As long as it works, I didn't know.
I'm fine with it.
Like.
If you're good with it, I'll keep going because it's whatever.
Yeah, we're perfectly fine with it, dude.
It's going to sound a lot worse the more whiskey goes down the throat. I'll probably sound like this normally anyway with all the whiskey going down my gullet right now, so it's all good. All right.
Let's just keep rolling. All
right, so.
Sorry.
First topic on the actual docket. We'll go ahead and save the one JJ wants to bring up first for last, just because I really want to talk about that and go a deep dive on that one, because Noah and JJ both have opinions on that one. So
I do too.
We all do, I'm sure. So let's just get up in it because Lord knows we need to address it. It really does. But let's go ahead and talk about Freddie first because I like Freddie. I always have. I think he's a cool guy. But it's one of those, he was given an opportunity to be a WWE writer at some point, and you know what? Cool on him. But at this stage of the game in professional wrestling, sports, whatever you want to call it, do we really need another promotion run by, with all due respect to Tony, a glorified fanboy? And why do we need to saturate the market further is my question, because there right now, there is some sort of televised wrestling on every weeknight and either one or both weekend nights, number one. Number two, one of Freddie's stated goal is, I want to be on television. It's like, dude, where? Where the hell are you going to go?
Yeah.
Monday nights is clearly not your night. Tuesdays belongs to NXT, AEW Dark, and the NWA. Wednesday night, you know what that means. Thursday night has been Impact's night. If you want to be a dick and try to outdo Impact, that's your assholeness, Freddie, whatever. And Friday nights are now SmackDowns and Rampages, and even in New Japan Strong as well. So where does a weekday or even a weekend night time slot really fit in? That's the chief worry I have with Freddie actually going through with this. Again, I like Freddie Prinze Jr. I always have. I think he's a good actor. I think he's a hell of a nice guy, for one thing. I just worry that his ambition is going to overshoot his thought process and make him realize that it's probably not a good idea. But I will throw it to James first, and we'll go around the horn here.
Yeah, I have a different reason why I'm somewhat pretty much against it. I hate to be that guy because I know there are probably some people for it. Here's why I'm against it. And I know this is probably going to sound like I'm against what I'm about to bring up, but I'm not. Let me make that clear. But the fact that he was going to try to bring the wrestlers that he's contracted into the actors union.
Oh yeah,
that is a disaster waiting to happen. Number one reason being, does Lucha Underground's ring any bells? While there was no union in place, contracting your talent to any contract, especially a union contract, unless the union contract is allowed to do freelance work, which means going to other wrestling promotions and they're covered. Which I will say, if that is the case, then I'm all for Freddie Prinze Jr. doing this because it actually means that he's actually going to Ring of Honor style this, which means he's going to send people to AEW and other places and maybe get everybody on the union thing, which would actually gain a lot of leverage. Cool with that if it's that type of union, if it's a freelance union. If it's not, we got a major problem because then you're talking about Lucha Underground. Lucha Underground didn't have a union, but Lucha Underground tried to lock down talent, and they had no rhyme or reason to do that at all. When they would have been better off just letting them come in when they needed them by a pay-by-appearance date deal and doing it that way. And look at what happened to Lucha Underground. They lost all of their top stars. And as much as I love Jake Hager, they were left with Jake Strong as their last world champion. They wanted to right that wrong, and they couldn't because they couldn't lock anybody down because nobody wanted to be tied down to a contract anymore.
Right.
So that's the problem. It's listen, this is not me saying I want Freddie Prinze to do bad. It's not me saying that at all. I hope he does well in that this is a freelance union, because if this is a freelance union that we're going by, then this changes the game entirely. But look, man, look at The Rock, man. Like, you only need to use The Rock as a great example. How many times did The Rock want to come back for a WrestleMania match? And how many times did the actors union deny it? Over and over and over again. Now, listen, totally understandable coming from their side. They're reliable. He's a reliable actor. I mean, not that he's going to show up there, but say Keith Lee goes to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s promotion tomorrow. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but I'll use him as an example. Do you really think that an actors union is going to look at him and be like, oh, he could be a potential good star for a movie?
Well, no.
You know what I mean? Like, and then you put him in the actors union, and then they're going to try to use them for movies. They don't give a damn if they're in a pro wrestling company. That's probably the last thing they want them to do.
Right.
That alone is a problem. Like, you're trying to put them in an entirely different category of entertainment with this union. What needs to happen, and what's probably more realistic, is you need a wrestling industry-wide union. That's what you really need here. You can't do it any other way, because the actors union, if they join the actors union, they're going to want them for movies, and they're not even going to want them to touch a damn ring if they find any value in them whatsoever. And the people that they don't find any value in, they're going to leave them on the show, and then the show's going to get devalued because they have no star power.
Yep.
So, I mean, there's so many flaws with Freddie Prinze Jr.'s wanting to start a wrestling company besides the TV time slot. I mean,
right, this is what I'm on my head. Right.
Like, it is all over the place what he's trying to do. I don't even think he knows what the hell he wants to do.
No. You made a good point about the roster, James, and I'm going to compare it to AEW. we've talked ad nauseum on this channel and other channels I've appeared on about the completely ballooned up, overinflated roster of AEW. Let me tell you how big the AEW roster is, and compared to these other companies, and as far as Freddie signing, as Emmanuel said, whoever is not signed up for a long-term contract, there are so many people on the AEW roster right now. They sent a good, and I mean a good chunk of people out on that ship for us for 4 days. Rampage didn't even blink. It just went right along without us. And we had a decent 3 nights of wrestling, even still, with the guys we did have and the girls we did have. There's too many damn people on that roster. WWE keeps casting away the ones we invest in and trying to mold these kids into the new prototype out of the Performance Center, which, again, I'm not necessarily against that because, like I said, it is a business. And you have to make money in business, and the way you make money in business is doing what you need to do in your head to make your company work. So I'm not against that basic principle. There's just a lot of onion to peel all around that thing. Now, AEW is the same way. They got too many damn people, and there's not too many cooks in the kitchen. There's too many damn busboys trying to get out the freaking double doors. What's the problem there, the AEW?
Nah.
Impact, honest to God, and this is going to be one of those hot takes where I probably had too much whiskey already. If Impact Wrestling's reputation hadn't been so screwed up the last half of their existence, they could be in talks for still being a major player. Their in-ring work is great. Their storylines are minimal enough where they don't, oh God, with this shit again like we did tonight alone, let alone with the rest of the AEW, WWE programming and AEW programming on occasion. Impact's got that good balance, and it's still 2 hours. It goes by so fast. New Japan, again, I don't know if New Japan will ever really get into that consciousness of American mainstream culture like WWE, even like AEW is now, without a, again, major, wide-reaching, WWE television deal. Same with Ring of Honor. Ring of Honor has had freaking steady she goes for 20 years, but they've never had a more than regional television deal. So for Freddie to do this with no TV right now, with so many people that, yes, are unsigned, but you cannot tell me they're going to want to get locked into contracts where they also join SAG or whatever the union is going to be. And then if they get signed to a movie deal where they have to honor a Hollywood contract and they can't go wrestle anywhere else, they will tell Freddie to kiss their ass, and then he'll be back where he started. So there are a lot of problems there. But I'm going to pass the baton to Noah because I need to go switch my laundry out. So Noah, please, what are your thoughts on this, my friend?
After Noah goes, I actually have a point to add to yours, Jeff, as well.
Okay.
Well, again, the whole thing about the industry being oversaturated, it seems, it kind of like is almost a follow-up point. Like, if this is Win Ben Stein's money, $50 follow-up, when we were talking about, okay, is wrestling on the rise here, once again, primarily in the States, we all said yes, with so much opportunity out there and so much promising talent, too. But now this actor wants to try and dip his hands into the wrestling promotional world, too. But the flaw here, again, comes down to if you're trying to lock them in, particularly in two forms of entertainment, or an alternative form that many of these athletes may not be used to, that's going to cause an entire cluster in itself. And again, with how much content there is, not just on mainstream media, but social media encouragement, and also just online platforms, you're almost kind of oversaturating the industry at this point if you're trying to lock people down. So I feel that he has an optimistic approach, but in this day and age, it probably will be one that not many people would want to do, because with so much opportunity in the freeform side of the wrestling industry too, when you're not locked into the likes of WWE or, top tier contract in AEW, you can go and pretty much compete anywhere else. I mean, Daniel Garcia just won Battle of Los Angeles, for Pete's sake. I'm not sure how far this can go. James kind of summed it up as far as the logistics go based on previous history in a promotion that I followed quite swiftly, and I was like, okay, where we go from here, this was not ending. And then we saw what happened, and it turned out to be Stu Bennett in a limo after coming off working in World of Sports, of course, halfway across the world, and that being a short-term thing and that ending too. I think about what culture once started with WCPW, that turned to Defiant Wrestling, and that ended too over on the UK side. So again, starting a business in wrestling is one thing, but starting a business where you want to try and lock down your talent, maybe in an alternate form they may not even be accustomed to, that's a whole nother can of worms that you're opening up that you're not going to be able to clean up easily too. So
yeah,
I'm a little bit unsure about this, to say the least.
To add to your points, Noah, and to Jeff's points, I also, before we go to JJ's, I have to bring this in the deal as well. And by the way, it wasn't started by YouTubers. That's such a common misconception, Josh. That was started by an actual content company. Like that's what culture is. That wasn't the YouTubers that started. They were just the faces of it. Common misconception. Anyway, besides that, let me continue. Besides what you've already all said, here's another problem. You talked about the oversaturation of the industry. Where are you going to get talent? That isn't, I mean, maybe you could revitalize the UK scene, but that's where you would have to go. Because God knows, like, we need the UK scene revitalized big time. And like, and listen, I love that Jeff Jarrett's trying to do what he's doing with Progress. And I like that, you know, we got Rev Pro, but that 2 companies ain't going to be enough. They're just not going to be. And the IWC, forget about it. They're still under the WWE umbrella at this point. So maybe go there, maybe do something in Australia, maybe. I mean, who are you going to get there? I mean, you're going to get unknown talent. You just are, which is not necessarily a bad thing, right? But I'll give you an example of a wrestling company that was started by YouTubers, straight up started by YouTubers, that is actually succeeding right now, and that's pretty much a B-level indie that's actually entertaining to watch. Deadlock Pro Wrestling. Their method is great. It's tremendous. They somehow locked down a deal to do an on-demand site, not just Patreon, on-demand site. They are doing some of the best indie cards that I like. They're in the next Ring of Honor. I'm telling you all right now. Don't sleep on these guys. These people are the future of the industry. That's great to have. That's a great starting point to have. That's DPW in a nutshell. It's just, they're very high produced, but they're basically what Ring of Honor was back in 2002. What Freddie Prinze Jr. is trying to be is the WWF from 1998. Like that's what he's trying to be by locking these people down. Or even WCW with, in 1998 with these Turner contracts, probably more realistic comparison. That can't work. That is not this day and age. That is not a sustainable business model. Look at it. You don't believe me? Ask Matt Cardona. Seriously, man. Ask Matt Cardona.
And that guy's doing everything right now across the entire industry.
You can't lock that guy down to a contract. He doesn't want to be locked down to a contract anymore. That said, JJ, you're up. I wanted to get that point out there.
I don't have a whole lot extra to add to this. Like, when I first read it, I was like, okay, this could be a good thing. But the more and more I thought about it, the more I was like, nah, this really isn't a good thing because of all the reasons you guys have already touched on. So
there's way more negatives than there are positives. That said, this ain't CYN. It's not that bad. Like, at least this was more optimistic approach than this pessimistic approach. Let's be freaking honest. But again, unless this is the union you're going to put them under contract is going to be a freelance union, this ain't going to fly, Chief. Yeah. Especially in this wrestling industry. No chance in hell.
Yeah.
No way.
Emphatic.
It's just
hard to argue with everybody. I again, it's one of those. I like you said, James. I hope Freddie succeeds, but pessimism and realism are mother fuckers.
Yeah.
They just are.
Before we move to the next topic.
Yes, sir.
I just saw, while this discussion was going on WWE's Instagram, they are announcing that Charlotte suffered a fractured radius during the match, which I Googled
that was clear. That was clear.
I Googled that, and a general recovery time for a fractured radius is about a year.
Oh, man.
Whoa.
So depending on the severity and how legit the injury really is, because we all know WWE and their injuries,
right.
Charlotte could potentially be out for a year after this match.
I think for as I said, I think they did this on purpose because Charlotte wanted time off. It's happened before.
She wants to get married, guys. Remember, Andrade.
Why are you gonna get married with a broken arm? Why are you doing this?
Well, because it's not probably broken for real. That's why.
Let's be honest here. This is the WWE. Injury is a write-off angle for a short-term period of time to do something else.
They have kayfabe us in the past, multiple times, in fact.
More than proven.
Too many times to count.
I don't know, man. I saw that freaking shoulder out of socket, man.
I mean, it's like you alluded to, James, with Roman Reigns. We saw WrestleMania. Brock Lesnar legitimately popped it out, and literally he told Paul Heyman, "It's out, it's out." And truth be told, he wrestled tonight, but again, it could have gone 110%. Who knows? Absolutely. As far as Charlotte Flair goes, if you're going to take the towel off her under the most extreme of circumstances, an I Quit match, and those two definitely delivered when it came to that stipulation, main event caliber, simple as that. She definitely was injured to a degree. A year, though, might be a bit extreme. But, again, she is hurt.
Well, but again, Noah, we're going off what the report said and what JJ found in the Google search results. So, as far as we are being told, the injury she sustained is a year out. So that's what
right. And again, it's like, the fans that have to play as doctors. We're just inquiring based on what WWE said themselves. We're not just a fan that's like, oh, I saw this, and according to WebMD, she actually might be with this condition and might be out this long. It's like, no, it's not that.
States a fractured radius. I Googled how long does it take a fractured radius to heal, and it said about a year.
And that's what we're going to go off of for now.
In reality, it's probably Vince saying it's a fractured radius because it sounds fancy, when in reality, it's probably just the arm got popped out of socket.
Yeah, it's a sprain at best.
Oh, imagine.
She'll wear a wrist brace like the fancy bowlers do.
Imagine if sprain is a bad word.
All right, next topic I want to bring up because it did catch my eye. For the third time at least in the arena itself, fourth time in the city, it looks like the Royal Rumble is heading back to San Antonio, Texas. In the Alamo Dome. Now, also keep in mind, the first time they went there, of course, we brought up Shawn Michaels and his GOAT status earlier. The WWF's first event at the Alamo Dome sold out at the Royal Rumble in 1997 when they weren't doing sellouts, because they were doing pretty shitty business back then because the NWO was whooping everybody's ass. So the fact that Shawn got the hometown crowd to come in there and fill that place up with what they opened up. They didn't open up the whole stadium because Vince is old and tired, not stupid. Even 97. But and then they went back there. I believe it was the 2017 Royal Rumble was back in the Alamo Dome.
With the AJ Styles and John Cena revisited.
Clinic.
Absolute perfect in-ring clinic called by Marinello.
And then 2007, of course, was in San Antonio. Undertaker won his only Royal Rumble, which kind of cemented his place ultimately in history because he could never win King of the Ring because it wasn't available anymore. So if ever there was a thing, now you're Royal Rumble win. But that was in San Antonio because Shawn Michaels was the final two with him. So
damn good. One of my favorite Royal Rumble pay-per-views. But continue.
The Rumble has a great history in this city. My question as a fan, and I'll say this, and I'll say my piece, and I'll throw to Noah first this time. The Alamo Dome is a stadium, and we've all talked about the fact that WWE wants to have their Big Five because Money in the Bank is now in a stadium as of a few weeks from now. In stadiums going forward, My question to you, Noah, is the Alamo Dome really the only way you can go into Texas and have a stadium without going to Arlington and AT&T? It's like there are so many different choices you can have for stadiums figure in the state of Texas, or baseball fields. The Rumble's done baseball fields before, which are also stadiums. So it's one of those. Why do they need to go somewhere? I mean, is it the nostalgia thing for Vince? Is it the history? Is it just because I can do it again because I'm Vince McMahon? I mean, why not go to? And again, I don't, if anybody tells Mikey I said this, I'll shoot you on sight. Why not go where the Texas Rangers play, or go where the Houston Astros play?
Astros,
something like that. They've done Houston before with the Rumble recently-ish, and I get that. But if you're gonna pick a venue for the Royal Rumble that you want to have a huge crowd, and again, we kind of dicked on Cleveland not too long ago, talking about the Miz saying, you'll never get a WrestleMania or whatever because it's too small a city. You got the freaking the Guardians have a brand new identity. They've got a decent stadium out there in Cleveland. Why not run the Rumble there, or down the highway there over in Cincinnati? There's so many different choices. Why is it always Texas? Why is it always Los Angeles and New York? And I get we're big markets. Woohoo, look at us. But there's so many different markets out there. They're just not being. Why the hell hasn't Portland had a Big Five yet? Hello, stuff like that. Why is it always all reliables? Is my question. And do you think this rumor is going to come to fruition? We're going to have the road to SoFi officially begin deep in the heart of Texas.
Well, considering that we had this year's Royal Rumble in St. Louis and WrestleMania was out in Texas, I can't figure out, okay, is there continuity between maybe, WrestleMania and Royal Rumble? No. But I figure it literally comes down to basically everything you summed up. The very first thing I thought when I thought about this was that Royal Rumble where we had particularly AJ Styles versus John Cena with an in-ring match clinic, and one of my favorite Rumble previews of all time that ended with Shawn Michaels and Undertaker being the last two. It feels like it's just a nostalgia thing. I feel Vince has just decided Marcus that's like, we did great business here. We continue to do great business here. I want to keep doing business here. I don't necessarily want to venture too far out because at the end of the day, I'm all about catering to everybody, not necessarily catering to every city or every building, figuring that I'm going to have a sellout. And also with Nick Khan here, Nick Khan might be looking at the logistics institute and be like, okay, what buildings have best sold you out if you want to go with the All-Stadium thing for now your Big Five? They look at the Alamo Dome. Okay, great numbers every time. Let's see if we can surpass that. I think it's just a comfort zone thing at this point because all Vince cares at the end of the day is business, and as long as he can brand and he can sell still in places that are familiar and he knows people are going to drive there somehow to get to it, he's going to do that. But yeah, I do agree with you. Why can't you expand far out and try like other cities and stuff like that, or other venues for that matter? Truth be told, people know the only thing I know is professional wrestling, but I do know buildings, watching enough professional wrestling, seeing all sorts of buildings that every professional wrestling promotion has been in under the sun. And I would love to see like a Big Five somewhere right in Cleveland, Ohio, right here on my home turf, or even back up in Detroit, Michigan, where you did Ford Field one time for WrestleMania per se. It's like you always got to focus on the key cities that I haven't been to, and many people haven't been to, or have constantly been to over and over and over. You got your ways, but why not try and expand out? I mean, I get it. Chicago, Los Angeles, Florida, St. Louis, New York, Texas. Yep. Those are your primary, Las Vegas for that matter. Those are like all the primary things. And New York, New Jersey. Yeah, thank you, Scott. Those are all the primary things, but why not try and venture out a little further than that? So as far as this being a thing, I can definitely totally see that because they did Texas this year for WrestleMania. They probably booked this the day after WrestleMania for the Royal Rumble. It wouldn't surprise me one bit.
JJ, before I go to you, let me just say this. Emmanuel, if that happens, JJ and I will find a way because I ain't been to a Rumble yet. So and that'll be if I go to Money in the Bank in July, which is looking more and more likely, that will be the final checkoff of the Big Five. So, for the record. So, if it comes here, I will find a way, damn it.
Yeah.
JJ, you are on the button, sir.
Well, my question is will there be a segment in the basement with Pee-wee's bike?
Jesus.
Only if Jan Hooks is there. If not, I don't give a shit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Forget about it.
In all seriousness, though, It all comes down to a lot of the things that Noah touched on. It comes down to comfort. It comes down to the big market. It comes down to marketing. On the road to WrestleMania, remember the Alamo.
Again.
And shit like that they can use, as corny as it may sound. And no, I'm not talking about Jim Cornette corny.
No, don't make me rant again. Don't make me rant again.
Things like that they can use in the marketing. I agree with you guys. Like, for starters, I like I think it was Josh's comment about how it should be at a baseball stadium.
Agree.
Because it's a little bit of a different feel. Save the football fields for Mania.
Yeah. Make the stadium shows stand out with each other to a degree.
And then maybe do like Money in the Bank and the Rumble at a baseball stadium.
Yeah. Yeah, give it a different feel.
Expand your horizon a little bit, because at the end of the day, how many football teams are there? So those are the only cities with football stadiums that are going to be equipped to capacity to compete for a WWE thing, and you're doing 5 stadium shows a year. You're going to exhaust your opportunities pretty quickly there.
See here.
Josh, there's 32 football teams. Okay.
Yep.
So you got 32 football teams. Some of them have fields in the same state.
Yep.
Okay. And even if you expand to certain college stadiums, a la the Rose Bowl.
Yep.
You're at most maybe looking at 50 stadiums.
30. If you look at just the NFL. I'm actually literally looking at NFL's website right here, and it's even giving me capacity.
Okay. But I'm saying if you even add in some of the college stadiums, you're looking at most maybe 50 stadiums.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Hypothetically speaking.
Yes.
So that's over the course of 10 years, you've exhausted every stadium. And then
I've already been there.
Shit.
Right.
But if you throw in a baseball field or two to mix it up, like we said, and maybe do the Rumble and Money in the Bank at a baseball stadium, now you've got a little bit of variety. You got some spice. You've got things like Dodger Stadium and Angel Stadium and Candlestick Park, or whatever they're calling it now. That's what I know it as, because I don't follow baseball anymore. But you know what I mean. But there's just so many of those type of venues that haven't been tapped.
Yep.
And it just doesn't make sense to not use them more.
I mean, Cincinnati's got the Paul Brown Stadium. Capacity possible, 65,000. Josh given the Cleveland First Energy Stadium, which is what Jeff was alluding to earlier, close to near 70,000. And here's the thing also. As far as a WWE setup, those numbers are flexed based on the setup. They can surpass that easily.
Well, yeah. I mean, he says 67, we'll say 68,000 there in Cleveland. You put seats on the ground, you can probably easily get that up to 75,000.
Definitely.
You know?
Yeah, I honestly don't see why they couldn't. And again, I've been an advocate of having it up in Portland for a long time. They don't have a professional football stadium up there, but they've got college ball up there. And like JJ said, they've run stuff at Rose Bowl before and things like that. They can do that. It's just a matter of, like we've talked about, reliable. They fall back on what they know. So I don't necessarily mind that, because they look great on television. But as a local fan, you want stuff to come to your hometown. You want stuff to come into your backyard and be able to go. Hell, WrestleMania's coming here. It's been the first time it's been in SoCal in almost 20 years. I don't have to go out in the freeway, and I'm there as opposed to flying across the country or, flying up to Northern California or whatever. So it's great. So to have it, I get that WrestleMania being in a local market and not a, one of the big major hub markets of the country doesn't look good in the eyes of some, which I think is crock of shit, because any team, any city that has at least two of the three, or all four obviously be great, but 3 of the 4 major sports has enough of importance in the eyes of the sports entertainment world that they should get a WrestleMania as well, including
Ohio Stadium, right here in my state, Jeff, Columbus, Ohio. Capacity could be over 100,000.
I was saying, I know the Ohio State draws people, so they can definitely get people into that stadium if they want to run there. So
if they ever have WrestleMania here, I'm going VIP.
Dude, I'll go VIP for the Ohio State. Shit, are you kidding me? But I just don't. You know, and again, not big enough for a Mania, Josh. You make a good point, but there definitely is room for discussion for Rumble, SummerSlam, Money in the Bank,
Something. They use the Nationwide Arena for freaking WWE pay-per-views all the time. They used it for Extreme Rules last year, even though it ended with Finn Balor Demon being completely destroyed.
Right. James, I will pass the baton to you, and I've had a teenager unexpectedly dumped in my background here, so bear with me, kids.
Yeah.
Well, here's my deal. I think a lot of people are like, well, why don't they do this? Why don't they do that? Why don't they do this? When it comes to, hometown crowds and just going to the same states or the same arenas every time. I'll tell you exactly why. Despite the perception that they put on TV, it's all horseshit. Bottom line is, WWE ain't drawn in those towns that we've just mentioned. Look at every arena sale. They barely sell out half of the arena half the time. So, yeah, could they do a Big 5? And could it at least get to that point? Maybe. But that's a freaking gamble. Especially if you're going to a place that isn't necessarily a tourist attraction. Because let me tell you something. If you are one of these people that are traveling out, and this is no disrespect to anybody like that's in these states, but like not a lot of people know what Cleveland is. They just don't. And if you're trying to go for that hometown crowd, I don't know, man. They don't sell out arenas, so I think they'd have a hard time selling out on just hometown alone or home state alone.
Well, and again,
unless it's New York or Cali or Texas,
Again, the Big 5 shows going into fill in the town here, they'll sell out, and which is why they don't run the B shows like tonight's show on stadium property, because they're not going to get 100,000 people for freaking Backlash or Hell in a Cell. They're just not going to get it. But the only one I really am like still, and again, I'm hesitant, but they drew really well to Legion last year because that night was a SummerSlam. It was a hell of a crowd. I had a great time there. Money in the Bank will be the key because Money in the Bank is an untested animal on that big stadium stage. They've only ever had that show in arenas, ever. So we'll see what happens on July 2nd. Whether JJ and I are there or not, we will see it on the cock, as we say. But we'll see how it plays out. I hope, as much as I am not opposed to having shows repeat in arenas or stadiums or whatever, I hope that this rumor does not come to fruition and they end up somewhere else that really has not had that big stadium show moment, WrestleMania or otherwise. Because I think there, like we've talked about here in the chat room, there are so many cities that are just, I want a big show, I want a big show, I want a big show, and they're not getting it. And it sucks.
I don't know. Maybe. But I've seen arenas not getting sold out for Raws and SmackDowns. Maybe they just feel like it's old. Maybe they just want the Big 5. You might be onto something there, but
I think a lot of it has to do with the fact that, number one, WWE's product has not been good for a long time.
No.
They're recovering from that as of late. I think even you can concede the fact that they're starting to get the ball rolling again. I'm sure you'll admit tonight's show is better than you thought it would. Was it great? No, but better than you probably thought it would be.
Yeah, instead of just 2 matches I cared about, there were 3. That's a great improvement.
There you go. See,
that's half the card. That's 50%.
Yeah, there you go, James. Good. Your expectations were surpassed. Continue, JJ.
And then I'm sure part of it is still the COVID community that we're living in. And even though things are getting back to normal, people don't want to go to events that are that huge.
That, and on top of the fact,
So I'm sure
travel
those
is still
two
a bitch too.
factors, those two factors are still probably huge in people's minds.
Yeah.
And
to
as
why
James
WWE is
alluded
not
to,
selling out areas.
Yeah, and as James alluded to, travel, because let's be honest here. Most of these events, and not just in the world of wrestling, any sort of big entertainment spectacle, any sort of big entertainment event, it is not just drawing in people that are local. I'm pretty sure if you look at the ticket sales of local participants versus traveling participants, I think there'd be a big margin.
The only exception to that right now anyway, when it comes to stadiums, is football. Period. That's the only exception to that rule. So I mean, like Metallica draws in an international crowd. Like, it's just a great example. Katy Perry probably draws an international crowd. Kevin Hart,
she's a whole different animal, though, dude. I don't know how you compare that.
You know what I mean? Or I know she is, but it's also a truth.
I mean, Dua Lipa and Elton John, they have their own crowds. They're still drawing. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's like Kevin Hart, Bill Burr even is starting to draw an international crowd. Like, because he's gone to all these places, and that's just the nature of the beast when you get so popular worldwide. It's gonna happen eventually where you're drawing international crowds, unless you are a football team in football, and specifically in the NFL and CFL.
Because that's diehard home turf for everybody.
That's it.
Even I understand that. I don't watch it.
And it's probably the only the major reason why the NFL is kicking everybody's ass as far as every entertainment goes.
I think about when you talk about like sellouts, and we talk about Raw and SmackDown, we talk about big shows versus pay-per-views. I remember one particular show they tried one time when it came to branding, and the sellout was way less than even half. WWE Stomping Grounds.
Yep.
Oh man.
That drew like a bomb scare.
A 20,000 venue, not even 10,000 full.
Bro, the tarping.
And that show wasn't even half bad, ironically.
No, it wasn't.
Tarping was so bad, man. Like,
whoa.
There was no way you could hide that at all. And Kevin Dunn tried. You couldn't.
That was the first real indication that AEW was onto something, because All Out, All In drew 10,000 into the Sears Center without even blinking.
They're still doing it now, dude.
I know.
Forbidden Door sold out over 11,000 tickets at the United Center.
I'm not saying. And listen, how did Evolution?
The WWE Women's Special. That's a whole different animal.
Oh, that drew really bad too. Actually, unfortunately,
it did a better number on pay-per-view or on the network and on international buys than it did in person, by far.
This goes back to the argument I put in last night with AEW. AEW, every single metric is up, which is why I've said and have been saying the Nielsen rating has been a crock of crap, because look at every other metric that they have. It's all up.
Including the amount of including the amount of time they actually dedicate to giving you wrestling on screen in their product.
The only thing, if there's only one down metric that's legitimate, is the fact that they don't give the main event nearly as much time as they do. Which, by the way, advocate for a 15-minute overrun. Fucking do it, God damn it!
Sometimes.
Need it.
Sometimes,
not all the time, but damn, do you need it sometimes?
Yeah,
man. Mercedes Martinez and Deonna Purrazzo could have used him. Just saying.
I mean, they still had a good match, but again, it came down to the actual bill towards it and the audience awareness of it. For what they had, though, they did what they could.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Josh, we see your question. That will be the last thing we ask before we go off the air tonight. Other than there you go. All right. So next. Oh, who's messaging me? Oh God! I am just okay with Britt Baker being a Pittsburgh Penguins fan, for the record. Anyway,
hell.
What,
Adam Cole, baby, you are my hero. All right, moving right along.
Whoa, hold on. No, I know what you're talking about. Just scoot over. Send me the link.
All right.
Send me the link. I need to see it.
What did you do? What did you do?
All right, Jeff, you gotta show me.
Oh boy!
Oh!
Pittsburgh Penguin DMD on the screen, people.
I like penguins.
Now, I will say this: for everything that WWE's taking away from us on the black and gold brand side of things, I'm here for this black and gold brand. All right, moving right along.
I agree. Anyway,
go Pittsburgh in the East. That's all I gotta say. All right, let's get back to work, you bunch of perverts. All right, WWE earns for now. Okay, this is where the virtue side of me comes in. Here we go. All right.
Oh boy.
First quarter. As much as the creative product on Raw, on NXT, on SmackDown just makes you want to just go in the back and pull a Thunder Rolls on yourself, it's like, oh, I'm over it. Revenue was $333.4 million, increase of 27% from first quarter last year. Operating income was $92.5 million, an increase of 42%. Adjusted OIBDA, which I forget what that means, you're going to help me out there when we discuss it, was up 33% to $111.7 million. All three of those quarterly records. Return capital to shareholders was total almost $39 million. They announced a multi-year expansion of the company's original programming partnership with A&E that includes more than 130 new hours of premium content and specials. They announced a broadcast partnership with NBC Group, MBC, and not N because they already are NBC, Peacock, the largest and leading group in the Middle East. Oh, so those guys. And North Africa region to air WWE premium live events, live episodes of Raw and SmackDown, as well as WWE Network's vast library of content. So basically, they're extending the network into the Blood Money country, redacted. Announced a comprehensive long-term partnership with Fanatics, which, of course, we know Fanatics is a major sports thing. We talked about the Fanatics brand in all facets of sports to create a new enhanced digital platform for e-commerce and licensed merchandise, as well as physical, digital, and what the hell is that word? Fungible tokens, NFTs, trading cards. WWE 2K22, the latest installment of the company's flagship, of course, was released to strong consumer demand and rave reviews. It had to be. It wasn't 2K20. It can only get better, right?
You would hope.
WrestleMania 2 nights held a combined 156,352 fans, which, yes, it's not 100,000 one night like it did, but 156,000 friggin' people seeing WWE over 2 nights. That's obscene, right? WrestleMania was the most viewed WWE Premium Live event of all time, of course. Global unique viewership increased 54% from last year, and domestic unique viewership increased 61%. Golly. WrestleMania was the second most viewed event on Peacock to date, behind only the Super Bowl, which, of course, Super Bowl, because that always happens every year at WrestleMania. They generated 2.2 billion social media impressions, more than the 1.8 billion the Super Bowl generated. And the viewership in India for WrestleMania was a record 56.1 million people, a 29% increase from last year. Again, we can sit here and bitch, moan, and complain about the product all we want. But at the end of the day, business is up on all fronts. They're still selling tickets to the live events. They're not selling out, but they're not driving the people away, even though we think they should be based on what we watch on television, right?
Mm-hmm.
JJ, I'll start with you again, since I started with you for the first topic. Oh, no. Have I started with everybody yet already?
No, but you were... The one I wanted to start was going to be the last topic, and you said you only had 4 topics. This is
that's right. Okay, so we'll go to James for this one.
Yeah, that makes sense. I started the thing. So, yeah, James, kick it off, man.
James, how does one, and again, I'm a layman when it comes to the business side of wrestling, except for the creative. I'm the creative guy, not the business guy. I'm very much where Paul Heyman should have stayed in his lane, not Todd Gordon, where he got thrown out of his damn lane. How can we sit there and just actively just deal with the fact that it doesn't matter what we say?
because the money is just coming in hand over fist. So Vince and Nick Khan and everybody up there in that new tower they built, all nice and pretty up there in Stanford, don't have to give a shit. How do we combat that as fans?
You don't. That's why you leave. That's why you leave. That's why I left. And it's, great. Here's the thing, and maybe this is going to be the moral high ground. This is why I'll never. I'll take a quote from Terry Funk here. This is why I'll never be a millionaire, because I would much rather be a real motherfucker and be true to my homies than be a complete corrupt son of a bitch and sell out to the almighty dollar for all fronts, period. Sorry. That's how I feel.
Never apologize for being true to who you are, brother.
Man,
especially on my show.
Listen, great for WWE. If they're up on every metric, but the metric that matters to me is the morale of that company, and it sways all over the damn place. It is bipolar, to say the least. It's crazy. It's crazy backstage. It is such an. From what we hear, from even what we know, it sounds like a crazy ass work environment.
Absolutely.
And you would never catch it. And I've said this multiple times. You'll never catch me dead working for Stamford, Connecticut. It's for that company. It will never happen.
Right.
And everybody's going to be like, well, you say that. I can't wait to see you ready for so many people gave me that so many times. And I'm like, no, I mean it. And you know why I mean it? I'm autistic. I'm a stubborn prick as it is. So if I say something, I mean it.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
all right.
Just by that general thing. But even if I didn't have that, man, like, I want to enjoy my life. I don't want that stress. Who the hell wants that stress dealing with a freaking madman at 3 a.m. who has more freaking dumbbells than he does brains, calling you at 2 a.m. to talk about an idea that he had that isn't going to go anywhere 2 weeks from now? I'm sorry. Like, great.
Again, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry.
The metrics are great. Cool. At the expense of making your roster happy, not for it. Never going to be.
JJ.
That's it.
Again, Jay, you become our token returning boy. We'll call you that for now. You've come back into.
I want to be token anything.
Well, there you go. You've come back into this after completely, purposely CM punking yourself away from this stuff for 7 years, much like Punk did. You are now watching the product that you even said yourself at the top of this show is improving, at least a little bit. And the fact that this show did better than James' expectations tonight says to me that they're at least doing something. But for you, you were a fan during their most successful portion of their entire history. You became a fan during that run of the Monday Night Wars, the Attitude Era. And you remained a fan until just after the start of the network era 8 years ago. So from your perspective, with all these business numbers being up, how do we as a fan actively say, we're glad you're making money, but your product's shit. We want to watch better. How do we actively make that a reality?
I don't know how to say this without sounding like an arrogant prick.
Okay.
But at the end of the day, there's a little thing called a remote control. On that remote control is a power on and a power off button. If you don't like what you're seeing on Monday Night Raw and you want to send a message to Vince and company, you turn it off or you change the channel.
There you go.
And you do not come back for a while. You stop going to Hot Topic and buying the t-shirts. You stop going to Walmart and Target and buying the action figures. You cancel your subscription to Peacock. And when they ask you, why are you canceling? I don't give a shit about WWE anymore.
Put that under other.
Yeah.
That is how you send a message. Otherwise, and I know plenty of them have been dropped tonight, but I don't think I've used mine yet. Stop the fucking bitching.
Thank you. Yep.
Now,
right.
Like Jeff said, I walked away from this 8 years ago pretty much. And as been documented more than a couple times, with a couple of exceptions that I had to see, I stayed away the entire time.
Yep, you did.
I watched Brian's retirement speech. I watched the Mania where Taker lost to Roman and left his shit in the ring. And I watched a couple of pay-per-views, PLE, odds and ends in between because, it was SummerSlam and it was my birthday and Mikey wanted to have me over and the show was on. Okay, whatever. But I did not tune in on a consistent basis. Had I not experienced the period of wrestling that I experienced and held so fondly in my heart and in my head, what is on TV on a regular basis is not horrible.
There you go.
At all.
Perspective.
The biggest problem is that we watch today's product and compare it to the glory days.
Oh, dude.
And it will never be that way again.
This is back to our final topic, so thank you. Thank you so much.
I don't care that Impact is around. I don't care that AEW is around. No disrespect to those products, gentlemen. I don't care that ROH is around.
Right.
It will never be what it was when it was WWF versus WCW. And to a lesser extent, ECW.
Exactly.
Yep.
It will never be that. Ratings aren't measured the same anymore. The internet has killed everything because you don't have those word of mouth moments. It just isn't the same. So you have to put that over there. Put that in timeout. Leave it in the corner.
Yep.
Put it in a keepsake box, lock it up in storage.
Exactly.
Those are your memories. Hold on to them, preserve them.
Leave the memories alone.
Thank you, Jeff.
The product that is on TV today, for every company that I have actively seen, specifically in the last month, to save nothing of what I've seen of the E since the Saudi show, but just in the last month with being able to see Dynamite, Rampage, Impact, watching that New Japan match the other night, what's on TV isn't bad.
No.
Different strokes for different folks. Of course. But overall, it's not bad. But if you want to send a message to Vince McMahon, Nick Khan, Tony Khan, Dixie Carter, Billy Corgan, Fred Flintstone, I don't give a power off. Don't buy the merchandise.
Buy ours, though.
They'll see the numbers go down. Oh, what are we doing? Why are the numbers going down? Don't buy tickets to live shows. And that's the biggest part, is the tickets and the merch. Because you buy a ticket to the live show because it's so happy that they're coming to your town.
Yep.
You buy the action figure because your kid loves it and they want the new figure with the new t-shirt and the new accessory and the Build a Dominic figure that they can do.
Build a Dominic.
They want to go buy the SummerSlam sensational sherry and the Randy Orton with the god awful peach tights. So
Not
you
wrong.
buy it for them.
Oh my goodness.
But that's money in the E's pocket.
Yep.
Yeah.
You tell your kid, no, I'm not buying that crap for you. They lose their profits.
Yep.
And that's where it's the hardest, because it's hard for us to tell our kids no when it comes to that stuff, especially when they're good kids.
Yeah, exactly.
And they earn it and they're deserving of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go, Jeff.
Noah?
Oh, wait. Can I add to his point?
Yes,
as
please.
well?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I'm going to add and counteract his point in a weird way.
Okay.
Turning the button off, I don't even think makes a difference anymore.
Yeah.
I don't think it really makes a difference anymore. I mean, that's just the bottom line. I don't know what you do. I don't think there is anything you can do. I think if you just don't like the WWE, you don't have to watch it. If you just don't like AEW, you don't watch it. You just don't. You don't support it. If you don't like, but it's not going to affect their bottom line. It's not going to affect any of these companies' bottom line anymore. We're not in that age anymore where television is the only form of media anymore. There's multiple ways to make money when it comes to consuming content. It's just you can do the worst job in the world, or you could do and this is just my perspective. What I'm saying here, like WWE does with their creative, or you could do the very best job that AEW does in their creative. It's not going to make a lick of difference.
No,
it's just not anymore.
No.
Because there's too much content. It's oversaturation. So you can do whatever you want. You can watch whatever you want. That's why I've
anytime you want.
Yeah. That's why I've long accepted that we're never, ever going to get the glory days of the Monday Night Wars, because those aren't those days anymore. They just aren't. But you know what? We got different type of glory. We got a different type of glory days because no wrestling company is going out of business if they're doing a good job and they have decent streaming services. That's great for every wrestling fan. Who cares? Cool.
Noah, I'll make my point last. But what do you feel about the whole? I mean, like I said to both the other gentlemen, it's just one of those. WWE feels like they don't have to care because they are making money in every facet of their business plan. So to hell with the creative process, to hell with what the fans think, because we're making money anyway. Is it, other than what we've said here, and I will definitely address what was said here with JJ and James both. What do you think would be a catalyst? Again, we talk about the Joker and the Dark Knight, Agent of Chaos, catalyst of change. What could be a true catalyst of change in the short/immediate future?
Our entire economy goes belly up where dollar doesn't matter anymore. Other than that, it doesn't matter what you think. As the Renegade said, again.
Don't joke about that. It might happen, dude. Don't joke about that. We're getting awfully close with the game.
Right? Jeez.
Let's not joke about that right now.
Might as well. I mean, heck, they're already doing it across all other forms of media. And again, that just comes down to the exposure of the industry. Whether or not you've been exposed to it in 1990 or exposed to it now in 2015 and beyond. Once you see it, it's hard to forget it. At the end of the day, you don't like something, you try and stay away from it, but then something or somebody or just some notification draws you in. Everything around you, if you're a fan of this, will somehow coincide in your mind. So honestly, Really doesn't matter. Vince don't give a shit. Again, as long as he has some sort of avenue that makes him money, whether one fan goes away or 100 goes away, he's gonna keep moving forward. This is why he has deals in places like country redacted due to political politics. So again, based on everything JJ said, he summed it up, and based on the logistics that James alluded to in his short retort, it doesn't really come down to it at the end of the day. We can be pissed off with the fact they let go of 200 people, but if it gave them another $2.4 billion at the end of 2024, it won't matter, because why we keep saying WWE is not too big to fail. If every metric is positive, you can't argue with something is up versus down. You can only try and predict what you think will come around, and that's what's called maybe being the guy from Mad Money, or trying to call yourself a businessman that's not even in the stock market, but try and get in cryptocurrency or NFTs at this point, because almost anybody now can try and create some form of currency, it seems. So that being said, as far as all this goes, there's nothing we can do in mass or in singles too to affect us to the point that WWE will give a damn until the dollar absolutely means nothing across all metrics possible. And as fucked up as our economy is at times, that just ain't gonna happen.
I'm gonna also add to your point, Noah, with a serious conundrum I was suffering mentally in my own mind. There was a point in time where I thought that if the WWE didn't get their crap together, that the industry was going to die. But if the figures are to be believed, I don't think there's any need for me to worry about that no more.
Especially when you look at the entire industry.
And you know what? We've gotten so mad about the releases. I don't get why, because a lot of the people that they don't utilize, I want to see them utilized better in other places, and we've gotten that.
Turn a negative into a positive.
But they turned the negative into a positive, and we've enjoyed every single minute of it with all these different wrestlers, especially if you just want to see people succeed. So at least the WWE does that right by them. At the end of the day, like, the industry's thriving on all fronts. Whatever, you know. It doesn't mean I like the product. I will never like the product, and I will never like how they treat people to make them want to leave. But at the end of the day, you can always improve on that. But at the end of the day, as long as they will be happy and there will be a healthy industry at the end of the day, and I don't ever have to worry about this not being around for my kids, if I even have any, who cares? Seriously.
No, I agree. I will wrap this topic up with my thoughts, and then we'll move on to our main event because it ties in directly. I liken canceling WWE culture, as I'll call it, to the pandemic, especially in this country.
Yeah.
We've been doing this. We've been doing the freaking ring around the rosy here, the merry-go-round with this damn COVID for over 2 years now. Right? Yep. So how do we get out of that? How do we change that? We very simply is this. We build a DeLorean. We make it into a time machine. We go back 2 years. And when the people on that podium go, we all need to do this together, we stop being arrogant American cunt rags and actually do it. It's the same thing with the WWE product. If all of us actually said, you know what, this is bullshit. I don't like this. I don't care how much money they make. I don't like the product I'm seeing. If we all banded together and did it, they would take notice. The bottom line is it's never going to happen because none of us are going to ever collectively get like-minded enough to actually take a stand. It's the exact same reason we're in this shit we're in now, because Americans especially, but a lot of the world populace are so arrogant and believe, well, they're right. I don't care what, 200 medical experts say. I'm not going to get the COVID. I'll be fine. Well, yo ass is in isolation now, isn't it, dude? If we didn't nip this shit in the bud, as Barney Fife said many years ago, we wouldn't be sitting here having to do. JJ and I wouldn't be able to see each other more than once in 2.5 years. Shit like that. The thought process. Okay, my dad said it best many years ago. A person with their own thought process is an annoyance. People with thought processes are scary, good or bad.
Yep.
All right. Main event time, because JJ brought this up, and I brought it to JJ, but he is our guy, and I loved that he said this because it made my freaking millennium. It really did. Recent AEW / Ring of Honor, AEW signee / Ring of Honor returnee, Samoa Joe. There he is, back in 2004. God, we were young. Oh, Lord. At the end of the day, he's absolutely right.
Yes, he is.
I cannot even understand. And again, if I'm perceived as a dick here, then I will gladly buy head asshole in charge hat over at, Cafe Press in the morning, whatever. Noah, you've said it every single broadcast you've ever done for me. JJ, you and I have talked about this on and off air. You like WWE? Cool. You like AEW? That's cool too. You like Impact Wrestling? Good. We're glad somebody's watching the damn show. You like New Japan? It's a different environment. Cool. Let me see what that looks like. You like the NWA and the fact that it's coming back? Awesome. And the fact that it's getting a foothold? Cool. You like the indie stuff in your area. You like the indie stuff you see on Fight TV. You like the indie stuff you see on YouTube. That's cool. Guess what? You can still be a fan of one and not have to beat the shit out of the other one when you talk or when you post or when you this or when you that. I have said this almost my entire career of podcasting. The worst part about wrestling fans is the fact that it's wrestling fans. Mm-hmm. Rather than just sit back and enjoy what you're seeing. And by the way, if you're not enjoying what you're seeing, JJ's point is valid. Turn the goddamn channel and watch sports, watch a movie, watch TV. Hell, turn your camera off and go watch some porn. You get yourself happy that way. Whatever you want. Whatever. Seriously. There is so much content out there in the world, especially on the internet, that you don't have to be miserable. And that's my point I'm trying to make here as I pass the baton on to JJ first. People make the choice to be miserable and bitch about wrestling when you don't have to, especially right now. There are more options as a wrestling fan than there ever were when JJ and I were growing up. Period. You wanted to watch wrestling on a national scale, you had two channels, USA Network and the Turner brand. That was it. You find ECW, you're a goddamn miracle worker until TNN 1999. Okay? Every night of the week on actual television, and most nights of the week on YouTube, Fight TV, whatever you want to call it. Why are you bitching for? And if you don't like any part of the wrestling stuff, then you're not a wrestling fan. And like Emmanuel says, turn the TV off, get your ass showered, get dressed, go out and have a social life. JJ?
What was Joe's exact statement?
I will read it to you. Let me bring it up.
Okay.
And I quote.
Right.
Diddly?
No! That means Hornswoggle's back. No!
I remember that.
Hornswoggle.
That little midget. Anyway,
oh my.
Oh no. You don't even know.
Well, we have personal heat with Hornswoggle. We will reveal to you off air.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
We didn't bury him on the air enough as is. We gave him enough press on the air as it was.
Unless people want a super chat to get the story.
Ah! No!
That was done on purpose. Somebody's watching your stream and did that on purpose.
What?
I heard that! What the hell?
What?
May I have your attention, please?
I have received an email from the anonymous Raw general manager.
The anonymous Jeff Meacham Network general manager.
Hold on, let me get it out
Hey,
here.
newsflash! It's Jeff. It's not anonymous. It's unanonymous.
It's me. It was me. Oh.
And I quote,
I'm not on the internet every day catching all the buzzwords and getting with the revolution and stuff. I think the arguing between the AEW and WWE fans is ridiculous. Watch pro wrestling. You don't need to dunk on this. It's you taking your ego and taking something you have nothing involved with and trying to start a conflict. I love it. I mean, watch what you watch, enjoy what you want to enjoy, but hey, I'm always going to be pro value for wrestlers no matter what. Wrestlers should be getting the top dollar and getting paid the most you should possibly be paid and be valued at the highest level. I will never apologize for that opinion. I will never go back on that opinion. If guys take that as some shot like, oh, well, now you're here and now you sold out. No, my opinion is still the same.
Okay. I mean, for starters, he's absolutely right.
Mm-hmm.
We'll just kick that door down right here.
Yeah.
You know, the problem with the internet wrestling community is the first word, internet.
Yep.
Okay. The internet has given the ability to be anonymous with no repercussions of having to say something to somebody's face. You know, there are so many people that I read that talk shit, whether it's WWE fans talking trash about AEW or vice versa, AEW fans talking about WWE.
And those are just the two biggest points, not the only ones.
Right.
I would defy some of these AEW fanboys that I see talking trash about Roman Reigns, Randy Orton, Riddle.
Oh, here we go.
To say some of that to their faces.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And vice versa. The people that are trash talking AEW, you know, the whole hatred against the Young Bucks. Let me see you take that to Nick and Matt's face and say it to them.
Yep.
Just super kick with a tack booted Dior Jordan.
You know, it's ridiculous, like Joe said. There are enough. Here's a great analogy. Okay, a couple of fat men in this room. Here's a great analogy. There's enough different flavors at the buffet. You don't have to enjoy what everyone else enjoys.
Thank you.
You want fried chicken? Go get fried chicken. You want meatloaf? Go get meatloaf.
I like this
You want the salad bar only? Go get you that salad, homie. You want to go to the dessert bar only? Load up.
I can get behind that.
But there's enough different flavors at the buffet. AEW is different from WWE. WWE is different from Impact. Impact is different from New Japan World. You know, New Japan is different from ROH. ROH is different from NWA. There's enough out there to give yourself a legitimate smorgasbord. Another fat man analogy. You want to graze a little bit of all of them? Go for it. No one's going to judge you. You want to stay in your lane and be like, I'm AEW only, I'm WWE only? Do that. But don't knock me if I tend to prefer the WWE over AEW, and I won't knock you. You look at this room, this panel of individuals before you. Okay? Put James above me. Put me down next to you, Jeff. The top half of this room tends to prefer, and I'm not saying me and you don't, Jeff, so don't jump down my throat. But the top half of our panel here tends to prefer the more pure wrestling aspect. The AEW, New Japan's, that type of product. The bottom portion tends to prefer more of the entertainment based. Yet, every other week, the four of us are able to come together, host an open mic night, or do a watch along, get along, not cuss each other out, even get somebody who rather would not have been involved in this show tonight to be involved and admit that he enjoyed the show at least one match more than he thought he would. It can be done, people.
Yep.
You know, you've got the man above Jeff who is all giddy and smiling because I sat there on Thursday watching New Japan Pro Wrestling. You know what I liked about New Japan? It reminded me of my time going to Gorilla.
Thank you, God Almighty.
At least before Gorilla became saturated with crazy fans. When people would just sit there and they would watch the match.
And cheer and boo and just be civil.
Not even cheering and booing. Just watch the match. Granted, we're in a little Jewish community center, but you could hear every chop, every kick, every strike. Yeah, I could hear the commentators commentating, but you could hear every chop, every kick, every strike. I loved that shit. That's what I enjoyed about watching New Japan this past week. To say nothing of getting to see Okada for the first time ever.
Nice.
You know, I've been enjoying AEW. Why have I been enjoying AEW? Because you've got some WWE cast-offs, like Chris Jericho, like Jake Hager, Jack Swagger, like Keith Lee there now, Bryan Danielson, CM Punk. You know, there's others that I'm not thinking of. But then you've got a new breed of talent that I've never really seen before. You've got guys like MJF and Orange Cassidy and Wardlow. And then, here's the be-all, end-all. You've got guys that I saw in that Jewish community center. You've got guys like the Young Bucks, like Scorpio Sky, your current TNT champion. Frankie, the future Kazarian. You've got these guys all hodgepodging to make up this roster.
Yeah.
I had my ex, my daughter's mom, kind of pop when she saw Rick Knox was the freaking official. Because Rick Knox was a PWG original official.
That's our boy, man. We love us some Knox.
That's Baby Kane. We used to chant Baby Kane at him, and he would step over the top rope a la Kane for every match. There were a couple shows he was the only ref, and he did it for every match of the show. Those are our guys. Impact. Again, I've only really seen one episode, so I can't get too in-depth there, but seeing that guys like Saban and Shelley are still around makes me happy, because those guys were there when I watched TNA the original time. Up until this past Thursday, which unfortunately was our boys' farewell match for the company. But knowing that our buddy Willie was in that company for those years, was an X Division champion.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
It's great. These are the reasons why you need to support the indie wrestling near you, because that's where AEW got their Wardlows, their MJFs. You know, they scoured the indie circuit. That's where WWE gets their NXT talent.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Bro,
I got a feeling one of the Jokers is going to be Claudio Castagnoli. I'm calling it here and now.
There you go.
I would love that.
Yeah, man.
You know, there is so much out there for everybody to take in, and you don't need to chastise or hate on anybody for their difference of taste. It's just like music. Some people like country. Some people like rap.
I'm
Some
a
people
little
like
bit
bubblegum pop. Some people like heavy metal. That's great. And then you got people like me who you can peruse my database of music, ask Jeff, and I've got everything on there. I've got Metallica. I've got Anthrax. I've got NSYNC. I've got Backstreet. I've got Dr. Dre and Biggie and Luke Bryan and Garth Brooks.
And boy.
I've got everything because that's how I was raised. Appreciation for everything. You can find something in every genre to gravitate towards. Whether it's the artistry, the songwriting, the show itself, and it's the same thing for wrestling. If you like the pyrotechnics and the spectacle and the outrageous storylines, there's WWE. And to a lesser extent, AEW. If you like more reality-based, you've got AEW. If you like something that's just bare bones, simple, you've got Ring of Honor, you got NWA, you've got New Japan. There's a little bit of the buffet for everybody.
Yep.
I am done with my piece. Noah, do you want to add anything as the simple man?
I eat, sleep, live, and breathe 7 days a week professional wrestling. And it all comes down to this as I decree. There are no winners. There are no losers. There are no betters. There are just fans who have their own opinions for this passion we all share. At the end of the day, folks, support one another, respect each other, just enjoy life and enjoy wrestling. Simple as that.
It really is simple. That's the thing. It's really simple. James, am I wrong there?
No, you're not wrong. I think a lot of people are like, well, you don't like WWE, that's clear, and you would rather do anything else. And while that's true to some degree, I want to put this in perspective. For me, I don't like how wrestlers are treated in the company. Never will, never have.
Right.
Because I'm just a humanitarian at heart. I like people getting treated good.
As you should.
Yeah. You know, and
be a better world if that was the case, and a better industry too.
And listen, Impact is not perfect. AEW is not perfect. No company is perfect. We all make mistakes. We're all human. It's bound to happen, right? But I just give a crap that there is at least an effort to try and treat people the way you would want to be treated.
Exactly.
That's my thing with that. Does that mean I hate people that like just WWE and WWE only? No. What I hope they do eventually expand their horizons, but if they don't, that's cool too. I don't really care about that much. That doesn't give me anything like I'm not against you. I'm not against anybody that just does that, but you know, I just don't want the company treating wrestlers bad. And on purpose, what it feels like a lot of the time. That's it.
Yeah.
That's for me. And that's the sole reason I couldn't stomach watching WWE anymore, was because of how they treated their wrestlers. I left because the way Punk was treated. Yeah, was he a perfect human being? Has he made mistakes? You goddamn right he did. And he'll be the first to tell you he made a lot of mistakes.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know, man. Like, I don't think he deserved that much. I wouldn't wish what he went through on my worst enemy.
No.
Wouldn't.
And seriously. I mean, at the end of the day, for everybody that, and I'm just throwing names out here, I'm spitballing, okay? So work with me here. But for everybody that shits on an Omos or a Madcap Moss,
Right.
You know, about how they're kind of green or they're goofy. It's like AEW's got those guys too.
Yes, they do.
You know, for everyone that craps on Nikita Lyons, Jade Cargill says hello.
Right.
Oh,
You know, and I'm not knocking either one of those ladies. As a matter of fact, I actually love both of them.
Same.
When I can actually see a Nikita Lyons match on YouTube, I enjoy that shit. Or not on
easier
YouTube,
on the
excuse me, on Hulu, because they almost always edit her matches from the Hulu replays.
Yes.
Oh.
They do. Oh, yeah.
But whenever I can catch one of her matches, I enjoy her presentation. I think she's going to be a big star when she makes it up to the roster. Jade Cargill, she didn't have the NXT system, so to speak, to really help her polish her ability before getting thrown on TV.
That's right.
At 30-0, 31-0, whatever she's at right now, good on her. She's improving with every match that I see.
Yes.
She was the right call for that TBS championship. And by the time she drops it, that belt's going to mean something.
Absolutely. And that's what a champion should do. And honestly, that's what the wrestling industry should be. At the end of the day, you want to upbring not only each other, but also the visual image of your company, because you want wrestling to be approachable. Wrestling should be enjoyable. Wrestling, again, is, like Jeff and I talk about, the unspoken language, the most versatile and reachable universe of content and entertainment there is out there. There is something for everybody to enjoy, and if something doesn't line up with you versus another, even if it's a friend or a complete stranger you might think is a friend on Twitter too, again, and I'm going to quote the book again, I'm just doing it humble this time, it doesn't matter. We're all human beings, we're all fans, we're all people of our own design, and we choose the way we guide ourselves in life and what we like and what we dislike. It doesn't mean we have to chastise or judge one another.
At the end of the day, wrestling fandom, and I speak from my own personal experience, I know Jeff relates a little bit because we've been to so many of the same shows. James, Noah, feel free to speak on your behalf. Wrestling fandom is a fraternity.
It really is.
They are that family that you see when you go to every show. You may not see them for months on end, but you go to that show and you see people that you saw at the last show.
Yep.
And you take time to get caught up. How you been? What have you been up to? It's a community. It is a fraternity. And that is one of the things that I always loved about professional wrestling fandom.
Yep.
Yes.
That has seriously splintered in the last decade.
Yeah.
Worse than that Kendall stick that Ronda Rousey used on Charlotte Flair tonight, for sure.
You know, it's bad right now, but we need to remember that. And when we get the opportunity to come together, especially considering the circumstances of the world today, we need to take pride in that.
Yeah.
You know, me and Jeff would get to shows hours ahead of time. Sometimes because we wanted to film on site, sometimes just because we wanted to wait for the wrestlers to arrive.
Just chill.
But slowly but surely, you'd start to see the people trickling in and coming over to the area. Oh, hey man, how's it going? You still doing the YouTube thing? Whoa, you're Jeff Meacham. You're from NoDQ, right? I can't tell you how many times I saw it with my own eyes. It needs to get back to that, and
it really does.
It really does.
We need to remember, and we hear this all the time in all kinds of other walks of life. There's more that unites us than that separates us.
Amen to that, brother.
There is more as wrestling fans that brings us together, whether it's the way we got into it, our favorites, what it is we actually like about it, favorite matches, favorite theme songs, whatever. And you can watch The Dad's Not Always on Wrestling tackle a lot of those issues in the archive here on the Jeff Meacham Network.
Cheap plug.
But there's a lot more of that than there is that separates us.
There really is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things, like, again, I told you all my story as a antisocial introvert for 25 years professional wrestling fan. So.
Hang on 1 second, Noah.
Go ahead.
Hang on. Shutout, 4-0 Kings. Here we go.
Nice.
Well, Jeff had his happy moment of the
brand
night.
new series. We're tied at
Series
2,
is tied
bitches.
up at 2 apiece now with 3 games left. It's gone from a best of 7 to a best of 3.
And now they're going back. Jonathan Quick with his first shutout in the playoffs since the Cup Series against New York.
Nice.
So
good on you guys.
We are firing on all cylinders, and now we're going back to Edmonton. God help us. Anyway.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. Like I said, again, 25 years, all by myself.
Yeah.
Been out, discovered NoDQ, discovered you, discovered James, created ATW. Then again, there's so much that comes out of just being yourself and connecting with what you enjoy as a professional wrestling fan versus what may divide you. 300 people right here in Ohio, we formed a podcast during the pandemic and stayed constantly in touch and just taught all things wrestling too in our own way. When I went back to Cleveland for the second time for AEW, a few people recognized me because there was a guy in a suit wearing an MJF Burberry scarf, but he recognized me still as Orange Cassidy. So there you go.
Nice. I love it.
I think I've told you this before, Noah, but listening to the way you talk and you call the action, no one would be able to guess you were introverted. You seem so outgoing.
Bro.
Yeah, I am absolutely the opposite. When I go on vacation, which is a rarity, maybe once a year, and I've only done it twice now, I go all by myself, just walk around the downtown area, eat, and go check out a wrestling show. So, again, the fact that you think I'm that must say a lot towards how much I've grown as a human being of higher self-esteem and social communication, too. So thank you. But it's also like my friend says here in the chat that I'm with, supporting Allie, on her Discord, and I made a family out of that too. He says this: corporations do not need your loyalty. They don't deserve it. They don't look for it. The people in the industry who do the job are completely solid, good-hearted people. Those are the folks that deserve your attention, your support, and you just enjoying professional wrestling.
Amen, man. Like, even then, like, unless they really deserve it sometimes as an owner, not all owners are shitty people.
Oh. When WWE Raw was here in Toledo, a guy from my church works as a limousine rider. He personally picked up Vince McMahon, and they simply had a polite conversation. And at the end of the day, when he was done driving Vince McMahon from the airport to the arena, Vince said thank you and was on his way.
Yeah. There is a very unpopular misconception about the old man and the family at large about how
that's my fault.
You know what?
That's my fault.
JJ and I have both met Vince.
James.
What do you say?
That's
my fault. He said that's my fault.
It's not just your fault.
It's all my fault.
James, trust and believe. There were people hating on Vince McMahon before you even a glimmer in your daddy's crotch. Okay, I promise you.
Probably.
From both of our experiences with Vince, he's been nothing but a gentleman, and I concede the fact that in my situation it was complete damage control.
Oh yeah.
It's a different story for another day.
It was complete damage control. I know I've told the story before on here, but he overheard Staples Center's security telling the fans that Vince was too busy for us. Vince heard that alarm went off in his head, and he came right over to us.
Yeah, he did everything but actually run.
You know, it was complete damage control, but it made for a great story and an awesome picture. I have a picture with Vince McMahon. It's
my picture.
It's my camera image when I turn my thing off.
There you go.
You see
and Virtue And Virtue has a picture with Shane McMahon. And Virtue, on the review, he even called me out about, Noah, talk to me about what you like about, I love that. That's awesome. Talk to me about what you like about AEW. You're a fan. You watch all the products. It wasn't like Virtue said anything, that really judged me. He just wanted my perspective. So again, wrestling fans can share opinions that don't agree and oppose one another in a civil manner. It's absolutely possible.
It is.
I just like having a good time.
I like Richard's comment about how this year is 20 years to the day that he became a fan.
This year has some sort of cosmic, Back to the Future shit. 2002 is either 20 or 15 for everybody for something. It's crazy.
Hey,
it's all the twos. It's all the twos, Jeff.
It's the class of 02. It's the class of 02, man. That was a huge deal. That class 02 is the year that we went from F to E.
Yep.
02 was the year that Rocky left us, and then when he came back, he was heel.
Yep.
02 was the year of, Brock Lesnar.
Brock Lesnar.
Yep.
Ruthless
02 was
aggression.
the year of 3 consecutive WWE champions managed by Paul Heyman.
Good Lord, that man.
The brand extension? The original one?
Yes, the original brand extension. That went beyond with
so much for 02.
Consortium. The Consortium was me. I remember that.
The rejuvenation of Hulkamania. The debut of the No DQ media franchise, if you will, and the fact that I've been doing this shit. God help us all. But no, you mentioned earlier, this stuff brings us together, and it really does. And one of the things that brings us together, and I love that, is content right here on the Jeff Meacham Network. And you guys, you three in the room, and everybody still watching, which God bless you guys if you're still up on the East Coast. You guys are awesome. You guys are getting the first look at this. Let's see if I can make it. There it is. June is booked.
Ooh.
There it is.
Wow.
So, and we're starting off hot and heavy. Again, I will be at Dynamite on June 1st. We will have the Greg Cherry Show. I should, and keyword should be on that show in some capacity. The next day, we are celebrating 20 years of TNA Wrestling / Impact all month long. I don't know who's going to be on with me. We might have a Wrestling Rewind thing. No, you're welcome to come on if you want to join the shenanigans. We're going to be calling the Gauntlet for the Gold from the very first TNA show for the 10 pounds of gold, the NWA World Heavyweight Championship.
Whoa.
The following Thursday, in another off-brand, off-usual schedule match, taped the same night, broadcast a week later, the Fatal 4-Way to crown the first X Division champion. There is that.
Nice.
The following Monday, June 13th.
I would like to be there on both those shows if at all possible.
You're welcome for that, JJ. I think you're welcome for this one too. I mean, you can come along if you want to. June 13th, of course, Dad's and always everything. And I forgot to add the live part, but we're still live on that one too. With our top 10, because it's summertime, it means blockbuster movies in the summer. So, top 10 movie soundtracks. There's the key word there. Soundtracks to the movies that we all know and love. On that following Thursday, in keeping with the theme of celebrating 20 years of TNA, we're going to do a show that I just revealed the title for without actually putting it up. We're going to talk about the 20 years TNA wrestling. That's what we're going to be doing that day. So, and that will be live immediately before the No DQ review. We'll probably be into it because I can talk more an hour about Impact / TNA without a doubt.
That honestly should be the No DQ that I join. If you're going to be on that one, the No DQ review.
I might be on both that night. We'll see how the day goes. I honestly don't know.
After Impact Wrestling that night, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard.
The plan is to be on after Impact goes live in the East. That is correct. Because that will be the go home for Slammiversary.
Yes.
20 years of TNA, freaking crazy. Impact Wrestling, crazy. And then
that's something else I'm looking forward to. Somehow, some way, I have to find a way to watch that.
I went there live last year. The things I saw, the atmosphere I feel. Let's freaking go. Slammiversary is going to deliver again.
I actually tuned in and saw the very first anniversary show when they were still at the asylum. Their 1 year anniversary was 1 penny for the pay-per-view.
Wow.
And me and my dad bought it because we were like, well, shit, if it's a penny, why not?
Right?
Yeah.
And then we bought the following week for $9.99, so we paid $10 for 2 pay-per-views.
And now $9.99 is like the new normal for Impact Wrestling monthly.
Right.
And we were hooked.
The following week, going into that week, where another graphic that Noah popped mad for in the chat room, we'll talk about the history of New Japan Pro Wrestling in these here United States of America.
Starting all the way back with the Cow Palace and the first ever crowning of the IWGP United States Championship. Let's freaking go.
I love it. And which will be followed that Sunday by Forbidden Door. Yeah, buddy. And we round out the month of new content on Monday, wow. Good night, everybody. June 27th with another 20-year anniversary in wrestling as we celebrate 20 years of somebody we can't see, but we'll talk about his greatest matches anyway on the Dads, not always on wrestling.
And his name is John Cena!
John Cena!
When are the open mic nights for June?
That is a good question. Let me bring the graphic back up, and I will take a look-see. Boop. 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 Boop.
There we go.
The second and fourth Fridays.
Okay, so there is an open mic night the Friday before Forbidden Door.
Yes, sir.
Oh, Lord.
Okay. I'm throwing it out here right now. I have a challenge for the panel here.
Okay, shoot.
Okay. Go ahead and you can take the image down now that I know when it is. This past week on Ask the Dads, me and Jeff were asked how come Forbidden Door doesn't feel like such a special event. And one of the things that was thrown out there was the fact that there's so much talent on the New Japan roster that's already in AEW.
Yep.
So my challenge to the panel is this.
Mm-hmm.
Create an 8-match card using talent from any company, WWE, Impact, AEW, New Japan, to create a Forbidden Door card.
James.
A true Forbidden Door.
James, pick a date and time.
It'll be that Friday that we reveal.
Noah and I will
Forbidden Door.
Noah and I will work together on this. I
individual.
book my own cards for my CAW league.
Oh, wait. For the first time ever, you're challenging me not as a commentator, but a matchmaker?
Yes,
sir.
All 4 of us have to come up with our
individually.
Ooh. Okay.
All right.
Because it'll give us something to really dive into and talk about.
So
that's why I'm giving until that show. You've basically got a whole month and a half to think about it. If you need to reinvest in the WWE product because you're not familiar with who's on NXT, who's on the main rosters anymore, it gives you a few weeks to do that. It gives me the same with New Japan and Impact and AEW.
Okay.
8-match true Forbidden Door. Because there was a comment that came through when we were discussing about it that said Mickey James coming to the Rumble felt more Forbidden Door than what this pay-per-view could be.
Yep.
And it's hard to argue that because Impact Star with their championship coming to the Ease Rumble, having a good showing, not immediately getting eliminated. There's a lot of New Japan guys that are on the AEW roster, like I said.
Challenge accepted.
Okay.
Accepted. Agreed.
So you guys heard it. The Friday prior to Forbidden Door, and I'm sure by the time me and Jeff go live tomorrow with Ask the Dads, he'll have a fancy graphic made for it.
You know me too well, my
The
friend.
challenge has been laid out. A 8-match true Forbidden Door card. There we go. Richard Morales saying, "Give me Roman versus Okada, and I'll be happy."
I was gonna say, can we extend it to 12? Because it might be 12. Because
I'll tell
keep
you
in
what,
mind,
no
it may
more
be
than 10.
Okay,
I
no
was saying,
more than
James,
10.
the largest AEW pay-per-view match card-wise is 10 matches. I think that's pushing it if you go any further than that, even with a pre-show, where, might I add,
that's why I recommended that.
Yeah, like I add, Revolution, 2 of those 10 matches was on their buy-in, and it's still delivered.
Right.
So that's why I'm like, yeah, like, can we include a pre-show of like? So you say like you're saying like, we'll do
no more
10,
than 10 total matches, including pre-show.
Yeah, so basically your pre-show 2 or 3 if you choose, and then the rest is main card.
You figure Under Siege last night, which wasn't even a pay-per-view, it was Impact Plus.
It felt like it.
Was 2 pre-show matches and 10 matches on the main card.
Yep, that's correct.
Tonight's show was 6.
And honestly, Noah, James, you were with me the whole night. That did not feel like a 12-match show at all.
It went by, Jeff, I literally went back and synced the commentary that I did with Casey and James and rewatched the show. It flew by like nothing, despite the fact the video told me, buy-in included, wait, that was 3 hours and 21 minutes?
Right? Yeah. I couldn't believe how fast like we were on mic, and I'm like, what the shit? Are we done? Like,
that is why I did recommend maybe not setting a hard limit number. Having a minimum and a maximum would probably be the best option.
Oh, like a range.
Yeah, because like I genuinely feel like some people could do a 12-match card. I did a freaking 12-match card at one point, so it's like like 2 matches on a pre-show and then 10 matches on a card, or you could do 2 matches on a buy-in and then just 8 matches on a card if you want to.
The other thing you got to look at is you can't book everybody.
Yes.
This isn't WrestleMania. We're not doing a freaking Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal just so we can get everybody else on the card.
No, I agree with that. I agree with that.
They have to be in the company. So it can't be like, oh, well, Willie Mack just left Impact so we can... No, he's not in the company. Unfortunately, I can't use my boy. And it can't be, oh, well, I'm going to use William Regal in his prime because he's under AEW. No, that if you're going to use AEW or if you're going to use William Regal in a wrestling capacity, you're using the modern day William Regal.
50-something-year-old William Regal. That's it.
Love me some William Regal. But I'd be willing to bet you that if Regal got in the ring there with the Blackpool club, that he would not be able to go and hang with freaking Walter. Nah.
No,
the Regal
Walter
of
would
10,
kill him.
15 years ago, maybe.
Yeah.
But the Regal today, nah.
Not a chance.
So,
Well,
it's
before
got
we
to
get to
be
June,
based
kids,
off of the current.
Yes. And challenge more than accepted, my friend. And
you're on, Renegade.
That's it. As I told JJ prior to going on the air tonight, whatever the hell, the show for tomorrow is ready. So we will leave you guys with this. Well, actually, no. I wanted to ask Josh this question. I'm sure he went to bed already, but James, at the end of the day, we're a few hours removed from the pay-per-view now, or the pre-live event. Did you enjoy tonight's presentation? At the end of the day, after all that was said and done, did you enjoy WWE's presentation part of our show?
What grade would you give it?
There you go. What grade would you give the show tonight?
I will give it a C+ because everyone did try. The wrestlers tried. That is, if I'm giving it on sole effort, including the people that I turned my back on, I will give it. I would give it an A.
Okay.
There you go.
There you go. See,
I would give that an A. The show presentation, if we're talking the presentation, C+ at best for me.
Noah, what would you give this show?
As far as this premium live event goes, when you look at it from the WWE presentation standpoint, it did what it needed to do in each match. And honestly, each match, depending on who you are as a fan, it gave you that heel and it gave you the surprise factor. It gave you the competition side of things. I definitely probably give it a B-.
Okay, I go with a solid B. No minus, no plus, just a nice solid B. You know, the matches that I knew were going to be good were good. They lived up to the expectations. The matches that I thought were going to be shit weren't great. I wouldn't say they were shit. They weren't great,
Right.
but they did what they needed to for the talent that won. Omos and Moss got where they needed to get with their victories tonight, and we'll see where they go from here.
Yep.
Jeff, what grade would you give it?
First of all, just don't team those two guys up and call it Moss Square. I'm walking the hell out of this thing forever.
Omos squared.
Saying that shit right here and now. Fucking documented.
Moss Square.
Solid B's fair. I would say solid B.
Okay.
So it's 2 points I want to make, and then we'll say goodnight for now.
I was gonna say, by the way, in response to your challenge, I think I might have an edge just a little bit, just
right.
The Mr. Content Creator and me going into a whole nother world that I've never gone into before. So this is gonna be fun.
A new fantastic.
I do have a plug shout out I want to give before you officially sign off. So go ahead. No, go ahead and do what you were gonna do, and then when
I was gonna do plugs. So go ahead.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to everybody coming over to my channel over my first week. We'll even call it 2 weeks because of the soft grand opening that I did there with The Lost City, starring Sandra Bullock, Channing Tatum, and Brad Pitt, and Uncharted with Tom Holland, excuse me.
Wrong Spider.
So got Spidey on the head with Tom Holland and
Tobey
Mark Wahlberg. But with that soft opening, and then Scorpion King Rundown and Walking Tall, over 100 views off of those 5 reviews. 2 of them have 40 or more, so that just shows the others are a little bit on the smaller side. But Lost City has like 41, and the Scorpion King has 40.
That's
wonderful. In of themselves. So thank you guys very much. Make sure you guys tune in tomorrow prior to Ask the Dad, or not to Ask the Dads. Dads Not Always on Wrestling.
There you go.
Going live, God help us, at 3 p.m. with Dwayne Johnson's top 10 greatest movies. Make sure you tune in at 2:30 tomorrow, special start time, for my review of the all-star cast that is Be Cool. John Travolta, Uma Thurman, Cedric the Entertainer, Christina Milian, Vince Vaughn, Andre 3000 from Outkast, Danny DeVito, Harvey Keitel, Steven Tyler from Aerosmith. Just such a great cast. Thank you guys again.
Oh shit, too far.
Dream on. Voice is broken.
Dream until your dream come. And then, lest we forget, Jay, we are hitting all points Rocky / Dwayne Johnson, because the following episode of Dads, sadly, it's on Owen Hart's anniversary. It is what it is. I can't help that. I can't help the way the calendar laid out. But we go to the Rock, and we also have a funnier than hell Rock movie preceding that one too.
Yes. I figured we'd get more into that one when it got closer. You threw me on the spot. I wasn't ready to shill for that one.
Well, okay, fine, whatever.
During go home week to Double or Nothing.
Right. Well, yeah, that's true. That is a golden week for Double. Yeah, we got a lot of cool stuff lined up, and I am here. I'm so excited. We've got so much content lined up.
Emmanuel, if you have the Tubi app available to your disposal, Be Cool is on there. It's free to sign up, free to watch. So if you want to watch Be Cool again prior to the review tomorrow, that is the place to go and find it.
That's my plan, brother.
I signed up for Tubi. I watched the whole season of Yu-Gi-Oh! Just saying.
The original Yu-Gi-Oh! James, you're a guy after my own heart. If I was still playing Yu-Gi-Oh!, I'd be facing you right now in a duel.
Hey, we could do it online. I have my cards.
Yu-Gi-Oh! Is awesome.
My man!
I am not a huge anime fanatic. My daughter has gotten into it. My lady and her daughter are into it. But when I was with, not my daughter's mom, but a different ex, he was huge into Yu-Gi-Oh, and I actually kind of enjoyed seeing some of the cartoons when she would watch them. So signed up to Tubi, saw that the whole season was on there. I watched the whole first season of Yu-Gi-Oh.
The Pegasus Saga.
I'm in the second season. I kind of halted myself because getting back probably about waist to chest deep into wrestling now, plus watching the movies that I have to review. I still have 2 that I need to watch to finish out the Rock month that I need to watch, and then I have others that I still need to film. But
right,
so I had to put the brakes on the Yu-Gi-Oh saga. But yeah, the whole first season, watched it, enjoyed it.
Kaiba boy.
I'm a Kaiba guy. Keto Kaiba, Seto Kaiba, whatever. I botched that.
You're right.
I know.
Yep.
But yeah, Blue Eyes White Dragon, that's my shit. Dark Magician, that's my shit. Not gonna lie.
Nice Hummer you got there, Yugi. But do you have a Blue Eyes White Dragon jet?
We actually went
think
to
so.
we went to Frankenson's, that not convention, but that warehouse show that me and Jeff told you about that day, and there was a whole vendor with like anime, like 8x10 portraits and stuff.
Yeah.
And my girl had grabbed some for her daughter, and they were like, "Well, do you want to get one more for $5?" And I saw one that was done up to look like the Blue Eyes card.
Nice.
And I was like, I want the Blue Eyes. I handed her my $5. I was like, here's my $5. And they were like, now, do you want the card or do you want this one? And they showed me this other one. And I'm trying to think of the other character that was on it. It had Kaiba, it had Blue Eyes, but it had like another dragon on it also.
Red Eyes Black Dragon?
No, it starts with an A.
A.
Oh, is it a blue? It is a Blue Eyes type dragon, right?
I think so, yeah.
Okay. Blue Eyes.
It's not Blue Eyes Ultimate. It's just like, I don't know about this shit.
All right, so there's 2 versions. There's either alternative White Dragon or Abyss White Dragon.
No.
Okay.
I know the word abyss.
Hey, I know an abyss too.
Obelisk?
Oh no, that's not a Blue Eyes at all. No, motherfucker, that's Obelisk the Tormentor.
Yes.
That is the goated.
Yes.
That's what it was. But it had
Yes.
Kaiba, it had Blue Eyes, and then it had Obelisk on it.
Obelisk the Tormentor.
Yeah,
oh man,
So I got that
this
one
takes me back.
instead.
This takes me back to my childhood because Yu-Gi-Oh, Kolyoko, Digimon, Bakugan, those are my go-tos as a child, man. And of course, Dragon Ball and Dragon Ball Z.
I'm with you, Jeff. It's for Jeff. He's like, I have no goddamn clue what anybody's talking about here.
Jeff's listening to this conversation right now, and even though we're speaking, he's like, wah, 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 wah.
I have no idea what's going on.
Jeff, get your shit in Brian Cage style.
I honestly got the plugs and I want to get plugged, but I will say that just sounded really bad this time of night. But anyway, we're going to go ahead and move right along. Thank you all. For where are we at here? How long was last night's show?
I was gonna plug my stuff too at some point.
That's what she said. Okay, so all right. Thank you all, and Noah's got his head down again. I have accomplished my task both nights this weekend. I am proud of my damn self. Anyway, 14 hours this weekend, y'all. Crazy. Yeah. And I appreciate that.
Jesus Cristo.
Right? And oh, by the way, James, I said I got pinged for yesterday. I submitted a review. We good. So
yay.
I'm not saying go ape shit next time.
Okay.
But you know, we found the balance tonight, so it was good. Good stuff.
All right, cool.
To take a TV show title, Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Well, here again, buy the shirt, merch.jeffmeachamnetwork.com. Here's the thing. I don't say Curb the Enthusiasm, just keep it R-rated rather than the XXX and going on to the freaking scramble channels.
I have a question to end because I'm not expecting an answer to end the stream. By the way, just want to put that out there.
What?
You'll find out. Don't worry about it. It's not the Evil East thing. I promise. We're good. With it. It's all good. It's all good.
Okay, so just remember, as I end this show, I'm going to have a picture of Dwayne Johnson promoting tomorrow's show. So don't be going crazy on me here. However, we thank you all for supporting us tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in as you've done all day and all day yesterday. It is much, much appreciated. We will see you guys tomorrow again for the dads, not always on wrestling, immediately after. Be cool on the Casa D18 Studios. Have a wonderful night, everybody.
And finally, to ask the question, hey Jeff and JJ, you're friends with Willie Mack, right?
Yes.
Does that make you a reverse or?
Damn it!
Good night, everybody.
Good Lord Almighty!